Homeland Security Secretary with votes scheduled this week amid a record flood of illegal immigrants and drugs across the southern border.
House Republicans on Sunday released 2 articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas, vowing to swiftly push forward the process to remove him given the ongoing presidential election year. The articles accuse Mayorkas of refusing to uphold the law and breaching the public trust in his handling of unprecedented levels of immigration that critics blame on President Joe Biden's lax border policy. Edwin Mora, Washington.
Former President Trump says it's President Biden's weakness and surrender that has emboldened Iranian-backed terror groups to launch scores of attacks on Red Sea shipping, as well as American targets in the Mideast. This includes an attack that killed several U.S. service members near the Syrian border in Jordan. Mr. Biden vows to respond to the attack that also wounded several dozen Americans. The White House proposing new guidelines aimed at keeping better tabs on what cabinet secretaries are up to.
The new directive comes after President Biden and his top aides were kept in the dark for days about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's secret hospitalization. White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients issued the guidelines. They include a half dozen instructions for cabinet agencies to follow when secretaries temporarily transfer their authority to a deputy if he or she is unreachable due to medical issues, travel, or other reasons. Greg Clugston reporting.
Syria's military claims an Israeli airstrike on a Damascus suburb has killed and wounded several people. There's been no comment from Israel. On Wall Street, the Dow futures down 22 points. NASDAQ futures up 18. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hear that? The sound of water being poured on 800-degree rocks. If you were here in this sauna, you'd be so hot you wouldn't have the energy to move. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. Besides, after a long ride, a helmet sweat is way more satisfying. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without even breaking a sweat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
A Hong Kong court has ordered China Evergrande, the world's most heavily indebted real estate developer, into liquidation. This follows a failed attempt to restructure $300 billion that's owed to banks.
According to some estimates, only a very small percentage of what's owed can possibly be repaid. This country wants more foreign investment, and investors are going to be looking at how this plays out. And if these international creditors, and they're the ones who've brought this to the courts in Hong Kong in the first place, if they can't get their money back, if they can't get access to these assets that Evergrande has in mainland China, well, I think yet again there'll be people questioning, should I really be investing that much money in China?
The BBC's Stephen McDonnell in Beijing. Kate, the Princess of Wales, has been discharged from a hospital in London, and she is said to be making good progress following abdominal surgery. News and analysis at townhall.com. Virginia's Attorney General is determined to fight the spread of Trank, a street drug that's mixed with fentanyl and other drugs. GOP Attorney General Jason Miyares has proposed a state bill to criminalize making and distributing Trank to humans.
Drug overdoses have been killing more Americans under 50 than any other cause. Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares says people accidentally die unaware of lethal compounds in drugs.
They never think when they're at a party that somebody's going to say, hey, take fentanyl. They say, hey, here's a Xanax. Here's a Percocet. Or even we're aware of a family that lost a loved one that took a counterfeit Adderall pill to help study.
Xylazine is added to prolong the high, but it hinders opioid reversal treatments. Miyares aims to deter its use. Anne-Marie Morgan reporting.
And on Wall Street, the S&P futures a fraction of a point lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to it. Hope your Monday's going amazingly well.
Did you just have a screaming fight over the weekend?
It comes and goes.
It's getting worse.
It comes and goes. I was snotty this weekend.
Dang it.
Comes and goes.
You can't go getting sick when you're just getting off the edge of getting sick again. That ain't right.
I think it's just a rally. I don't know. But, yeah, some moments it sounds
your sinuses
better
are booting and rallying.
That's right. Yeah, it kind of just does then some moments it sounds a little better. It just kind of.
It did. It sounded better this morning, like when you first walked in.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows. It's got to get in the groove.
That's right.
So, happy Monday, everybody.
Yes, sir.
And congratulations to the fans of the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers.
Who I've rooted for all season.
You will be squaring off in the Super Bowl here in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So.
Should be a good one.
Should be. I'm not surprised. I mean, I think they were probably the two favorites.
I kind of wish it wasn't Kansas City, just because they've had their ticket to the dance just too many times over the past few years.
Yeah, and
it feels Kansas City's getting to that point where it's like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Although Baltimore's a polarizing team too.
True.
Like there's people that die hard love them, and then there's they hate them. And so it's kind of, if you really hate the Ravens, it's like, man, I can't root for that, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of, like there's a lot of DC people that hate Ravens.
Get behind that.
There's a lot of DC area people that can't stand the Ravens.
And that's understandable because you guys have your own. You know, you have your team. And Baltimore feels like they're like edging in.
Yeah, but they're not even in the same.
It almost feels like how New York fans feel about the Giants versus the Jets.
Yeah.
Jersey, like Jets are more Jersey than they are New York.
Problem is, Washington fans just salty that they used to have a good team and it's now sucked for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Baltimore had the Colts, which back when Washington was kicking butt, they stunk. Hence, that's when they moved to Indy.
Yeah.
And so I grew up my young days knowing the Colts as a kind of a garbage team. Yes, I knew the history of Johnny Unitas and knowing back in the day they were an elite team,
right,
and all of that. But I kind of saw them as the bottom of the barrel, and so I lived closer to DC than Baltimore, so it didn't really hurt me when the Colts left in the moving vans in the middle of the night, literally, what they did. And so, but I just never had a dog in that fight either. I didn't care. And then when they, in essence, got the Cleveland Browns and turned them into the Ravens, I just didn't care. I was like, no, I'm a Redskins fan. That's who I root for. And then when Ravens got good and Washington's been perennially bad, and so there's been a lot of converts.
Perennial, just in perpetuity, they're just terrible.
And so there's been a lot of converts in the DC area. They're like, I'm tired of rooting for Dan Snyder. I'm rooting for the Ravens. And but now that DC's trying to get them back, so anyways, it's starting to spark that up that you can't be living in DC and rooting for Baltimore.
Can't live that double life.
Although for many years, DCites were Oriole fans because they didn't have the Nationals during my time growing up.
Boy, how hard it must be to be like that one guy that lives in the DC, Baltimore area and be a Cowboys fan.
Oh, there's quite a few of them.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're all known. Like they're all on like a map somewhere.
Well, yeah, it's just like
Terry lives here.
I'm sure Dallas is the same way, where you go to Dallas and there's these sect of Washington fans, and it's the same thing as the Dallas fans in D.C. It's people that are angry at their parents. That's what's going on there.
You know what I want to get? I want to get a telescoping metal stick so that I can slap things and point at them. Because that feels very powerful. When I just did, Terry lives right here, that's what I pictured was a long metal, like I smacked a map.
Yeah.
I want one of those just for effect.
Maybe a riding crop.
Yeah, like a riding crop. Or you know what it is? What I picture is like an old school radio antenna, but just like cut off.
Right.
But like everybody who's ever like had one of those pull down maps has that stick. Does the stick come with the maps? Where does one go to get that stick?
I think so. But of course, the technology of screens coming down by hand with maps on them is
it's old school. But boy, is it tactile, and does it like that whack with the telescoping pointer stick on a map? That feels good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gotta get me a telescoping pointer stick.
You can whack it on the desk when you fall asleep. Exactly.
That breaks so many TVs. Be like, see what happened?
That thing would collapse every time I did it. It would just be like, that's what mine would do. But anyway.
It'd unravel.
Happy Monday.
Yes.
We probably should get going here. I'm going to replay an interview this hour next. Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager, joined us Friday. So we're going to play that interview here in just a few. Crystal Noble from the Humane Society joined us on Thursday. We're going to play that for you in the 8 o'clock hour. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're having Megal Duran join us with the Veterans Transport. And he'll join us in about 9:15 to tell us what they do, which is a great organization. They get veterans here in Roswell rides to their doctor's appointments out of town, whether it's in Albuquerque or Artesia or Lubbock or El Paso or wherever they got to go. They take them. So, but anyway, we'll talk more about that in the 9 o'clock hour.
Indeed.
And then, of course, we'll do all of your features, include the news is of the local national variety, Wall Street business updates, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show.
Yep.
All right. That's all I have to say about that. All right, 7:12. Let's get a look at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. Mild temperatures and fair weather with high pressure parked over the Four Corners. Sunshine today, and we're headed for the mid-60s. Overnight, a few clouds and mid-30s. We're in the mid-60s again for the afternoon high on Tuesday. Sunshine with a few clouds. We'll stay partly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the mid-60s. That's your latest forecast. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 34 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 76% with winds out of the north at 6 miles per hour. Mostly sunny today and warm. Expect highs right around 65 degrees. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight. Looking at an overnight low of 32 degrees with south winds at around 5 miles per hour. Tuesday, sunny. Highs around 66 degrees. Winds out of the north at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 36 degrees. North winds at around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny. Highs also in the mid-60s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, expect sunny skies with highs in the low 70s. 73 officially for a high there. Thursday night, we are looking at partly cloudy skies. Overnight low 43. Friday, there is some rain chances Friday and Saturday. 20% chance of showers for the afternoon Friday, partly cloudy and 67. 40% for Friday night. 20% chance of rain on Saturday with highs in the mid-50s. Saturday night, a 20% chance of rain as well, too. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get some moisture there. All right, 7:14. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll get your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten in as well. And then we'll play our interview with Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager, on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A big January run this week with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality wean, native calves, yearlings, pairs, bred cows. We expect to sell 2,300 head, breaking down like this: 150, 175 weighing cows and bulls, 150, 175 pairs, bred cows, 1,900, 1,950 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include 18 Holstein cows off one dairy, 30 cow-calf pairs, 25 bred cows, Emo Keeney and Sons, Cornutus, Texas, excellent quality older pairs and bred cows, black, white face, and Hereford with good calves, 200, 275 pounds. Several smaller sets of young, middle-aged, and older pairs and bred cows. 194 steers, 177 heifers, 2T partnership, Pecos, Texas, excellent quality, 90% black, white face, Angus crossbreds, cattle wean 90 plus days, 2 rounds of shots, PI negative, off short wheat and Milo fields, 500, 750 pounds. 20 yearling steers, backward 7L Cattle Company, right here north of Roswell, excellent quality black yearlings, 2 rounds of shots, bunk broke, 650, 700 pounds. 83 calves, Cross Ale Ranch, Van Horn, Texas, excellent quality, 90% black, white face, Angus crossbred calves, cattle weaned 60 days, 2 rounds of shots, 400, 600 pounds. 103 spayed heifer calves, Mexico origin, good quality, number 1, 1.5 quality black, white face, red, Charolais crossbreds, weaned long time, thin condition, 350, 450 pounds. 57 calves, Barry Ranch in Fort Stockton, Texas, excellent quality black, white face, Angus crossbreds, cattle weaned 60 days, Virus Shield 6, Covex and 8, 450, 600 pounds. 56 calves, Duggar Ranch, Cuervo, New Mexico, excellent quality black, white face, red Angus crossbred calves, cattle weaned 90 plus days, 2 rounds of shots, 450, 600 pounds. 38 calves, light yearlings, Mr. Charlie Clark at Moriarty, good quality black Angus and Maine crossbreds, 1 round of shots, 500, 650 pounds. Sale time this morning, 9 o'clock. Sell pairs, bred cows 10. Be selling calves and yearlings around 11. Big run, fairly light on cows and bulls, so don't be late. We expect to sell 2,300 head here today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Attention Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia, and surrounding areas. Roswell Tire and Appliance has what you're looking for, with a great selection of refrigerators, freezers, washers and dryers, and ranges, and they can prepare your appliance as well, with many models in stock and on sale. You can own it today. RTA services after the sale with repair, warranty, and delivery to Roswell and surrounding areas. Save big on a selection of scratch and dent appliances too, plus a great selection of tires and a team of people to help you when you need it most. Roswell Tire and Appliance, 101 South Main in downtown Roswell.
Foot and ankle problems are often agonizing, but they don't have to be. At Artesia General Hospital, we're passionate about helping every patient return to optimal mobility with confidence and comfort. Our board-certified podiatrists, Dr. Jennifer Chow and Dr. Michael Krupa, provide a full spectrum of services ranging from routine foot care and pain relief to customized treatment plans and leading-edge surgeries. Visit artesiageneral.com/footcare to request your appointment today.
The octopus and the squid both have 3 hearts. That's why they eat so many Tums. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us in studio. And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Chaves County Manager Bill Williams back with us. Morning, Bill.
Good morning. I'm glad to hear you speaking.
I'm almost there. Not quite the svelte voice that I normally have, but it is certainly a far cry better than that pecking and garbling I was doing earlier.
Do you remember the episode of the Brady Bunch where Bobby's voice is changing and they have to sing a song? That's what you've been reminding me of the last few days. I kind of have been. I've been
in perpetual puberty for about 2 weeks now.
Voice is changing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting hair in funny places, but my ears and nose. Yeah, that's what it is. It's all coming out of my ears and nose now. It's going through the changes.
Makes sense.
Oh, man. But for folks not familiar, Bill pops in each month to give us the highlights from the Chaves County Commission meeting.
Right.
And, of course, give us up to date on things that are just happening around the county here. So,
right.
And, of course, with the legislative session being in full swing now, calendars and schedules are off just a bit. Normally, the the commission would have met a week ago, but because of the legislative session and meetings and people have to be in places, it usually gets pushed back around this time of year. And so it is the actual fourth week instead of third week this month.
And we try to allow for that whenever we set our schedule for meetings for the year. We know that New Mexico counties generally meets that third week of January, and so that almost always affects us. And it did this year as well.
But that being said, a meeting was had yesterday, and business was done here in Chavez County. So.
And the other meeting, I think this year we only have two. I think the July meeting is going to be the fourth week as well as the January meeting was. And the reason for that is, a couple of reasons, but the budget is the big benefit. That it gives us an extra week to close out the books.
And that's a new fiscal year starting there. And so there's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross.
Right.
So,
and they want to wait as long as possible to close out the budget for the year and give them the actual true numbers for the final budget and the final budget approval.
Gives time to kind of...
And that's not why we moved the meeting, but it's just a benefit. We have to move it because of National Association of Counties, I believe, has their annual events during
two
that
birds
time.
kind of thing.
So it works out pretty good for us. So I was honored to go to Santa Fe on Monday. Not that going to Santa Fe is my favorite thing.
When I hear people say they're going to Santa Fe, usually honored is not the word that they lead it with. But okay.
But in this case, it truly was an honor because on the House floor, they did a House Memorial number 9 for Hubert Quintana, who is our former county manager, about 15, 16 years ago, probably.
Up there for good things.
Probably a little longer than that. He was our county manager, but he also, when he left employment with the county, he became a lobbyist for us. He probably brought more money to not just southeastern New Mexico, all over, but certainly his home was southeastern New Mexico.
His heart was in southeast New Mexico, yeah.
He probably brought more money to this part of the state than anyone else. So it was truly was a real honor to go up there and watch them present
honor
that
him
to his family. It was really good. So
it's nice to go up there for good reasons.
Yeah, for a happy occasion. And our legislators were all working very hard and diligently. We had the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District people up there putting together all of our capital outlay needs for all the different counties and portions of the state, trying to get that in front of the legislators to make sure that we get some of that money a lot of it originates right here in southeastern New Mexico, getting it back down here where we can do some good in our communities for our infrastructure.
Well, and I as people, especially people that have lived in southeast New Mexico their whole lives or a very long time, they all know we send huge amounts of money up north, and we watch it come down in drizzles instead of the more where it should be. And so it's great we have those people that fight and keep.
NMOGA has a map out right now, and you can go to their website and click on each county in the state, and it'll tell you how much money from oil and gas has been spent in their counties. I believe our county was $84 billion, I believe. Albuquerque, I think, Bernalillo County was $586 billion came from this part of the state to build their infrastructure. And, it breaks it down, schools and, all those different types of things. So you can see where the money came from and where it went.
And that's good. We don't mind helping, but don't forget about us down here too.
Well, and the other problem that often happens, in my opinion, is that just because there's a budget surplus doesn't mean you need to spend it.
That's the other thing.
We don't do that in our homes. When we have a little extra money, we put it away because something's probably coming up around the corner.
Let's just
we
say
may need it.
Families that are living comfortably don't do those things.
Right.
Families that are living paycheck to paycheck, that's what they do. Mm-hmm. And we can't run the state like we're living paycheck to paycheck.
States that rank higher than 50th on every list are not spending any budget surpluses. They're using that money to invest in their communities and making sure that they're taking care of tomorrow.
But I guarantee every legislator that's in there, whether they got a D or an R next to them, they're doing that in their own personal lives. Why aren't they, promoting that same thing in our public finances?
And fortunately, we have some that are, but oh my gosh, it seems like there's a vast majority that aren't. But fortunately, we have some good representation in our part of the
absolutely. But it's all about votes. because they're like, hey, if I can get the money, I can say I did it to get this park for my people, and next thing you know, I get elected, and then so they're like, yeah, but no one's sitting there saying, other than getting you votes, how does that park benefit everybody else? And that's the conversations.
Well, when the state has a huge budget surplus, and you just say, well, to buy some votes, I'm going to send out checks to everyone in the state. Those are the kind of things that just drive me crazy.
Exactly. It's like,
infrastructure and building our communities, I'm in for that as long as it's not wasteful, but we all need roads, hospitals, schools, and oil and gas is paid for most of that in this part of the state. Agriculture, oil and gas are huge in New Mexico, and yet they get struck down more than any other industry, I would have.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent.
I know, but
I really was honored to see Hubert be honored on the House floor. That was great.
We need more of him.
And everyone up there knew who Hubert was. He was a real force, and we have some people stepping up, working to do the same thing. Debbie Lee is up there. Bob Woolley is up there. Of course, Dora Batista is up there. And they're working to kind of fill Hubert's shoes and fill those roles. And they're all very good at it. Nobody's quite as good as Hubert. He really had it under his
when you
belt,
have multiple people replacing one person, that tells you a lot, right? With the work that they did.
But they all care about us, and they're working diligently again to make sure that some of that money ends up where it originated for improvements. And so that's a great thing.
It is a good thing.
So we had some interesting stuff go on yesterday at our county commission meeting. We had 2 public hearings with the planning and zoning. One of them was to vacate an alley, a pretty simple thing. The other one had to do with the condemnation resolution that was passed last month for an auto salvage yard. And the gentleman wanted it to be appealed, and he came in, and we spent about 2 hours discussing that. The neighbors came out in force and said, this has been a blight in our community and our neighborhood, and we'd like you to do something about it. He came out and expressed his side of it, and it just took quite some time to decide what they were going to do.
Kind of weed through all the details here.
And ultimately what happened is the commission decided not to overturn the condemnation. However, they did allow him to come up with a plan to remediate this problem on his own. But Commissioner Bilberry especially, and I think they all feel the same way, but Commissioner Bilberry himself stated that he's going off the commission at the end of the year. He doesn't want to kick the can down the road and let it be somebody else's problem. So he wants, because it's already condemned, it's already needs to be cleaned up, it's already been identified as a problem.
On that,
He said, I want it done before the end of the year. If he wants to do it, great. That's the best thing that can happen. And so they've given him 60 days to come up with a plan with benchmarks on how he's going to accomplish it, and get things back to where they need to be.
And 12 months is a reasonable ask to get something back to code, I think. Because in essence, that's kind of what we're looking at here.
Yeah, he wants it before the end of the year. And the person asked for a longer period. He says, no, can you do it? And first of all, we need a plan within 60 days that's got benchmarks that show that you're actually doing something. Certain things need to happen along the way.
Not just satisfying check box. Oh, I got this. It'll be next week. No,
and then 6 months from now, nothing has happened. Yeah. So I think that they made a really good decision, in my opinion, because they didn't overturn anything. It's still going to be taken care of one way or another.
There's a chance to
However,
fix it.
they allowed the property owner to
also it's to prove
the
that
onus
you're
is on him
sincere.
anyway.
Yeah, you're prove. We're giving you a chance to be sincere about being a good steward here, and if you can meet these things, then we're going to let this go. But if you don't, we're continuing with the condemnation, and as scheduled.
This was one of those times when the community came out kind of in force to make sure that we knew what the problems were.
Good. So people are,
we had
so it's clearly a problem in that
we had already identified that property as a problem and taken the steps to move it forward. But when they thought there might be a chance that it would be turned over, they came out in force and they were heard. I mean, the commissioners heard them. So
that's what we tell people to do. At the end of the day, the commission or any elected official for that matter are there to serve the will of the community in which they represent.
Right.
And if you don't tell your commissioners or your city councilors or whoever what's going on, then do it professionally, obviously, but they got to know these things. And so exactly how it happened the way it should be.
Right.
People came out and said, no, that is not something we agree with. We're going to come out and show support and be polite. Obviously, don't be a mob mentality, but sitting there and filling up the chambers of the commission chamber there with a bunch of people. And let's be honest here, unless there's a hot button issue, there's a half dozen people in the crowd usually at a given time, and it's because usually one of them have to speak at some point in the meeting.
Right. You know, we have probably a little bit more than a half a dozen, but I mean, it's not packed in most cases. And yesterday it certainly was fuller than.
And that
than
sends
usual.
a message. It truly does. And at the end of the day, the county commissioners they want to do what's right for the community, but at the same time they want to do what you want to see.
We're fortunate all of our commissioners understand that they represent these people, and they when the people reach out to them and says, I would like for you to do this, they really sit up and listen and assess if they're doing what the people want.
Sure. Well, and think about it. At the end of the day, when we elect people to represent us, we ideally want them to think how we think, and that or as close to how we think.
Right.
But they don't, because we're human beings and no one thinks like we think. So when you don't tell the people that represent you what you're feeling, they got to go off their guts and their instincts and what they're feeling. And to be honest, if they don't live there and see it every day, they don't have all the information to really give a true good assessment there.
Right.
So when the public comes out and says, and it's more than just one, it's a whole community saying the same thing, that's a very clear signal to the commissioner saying, hey, this is probably what's more accurate what's going on here.
Right.
We need to address this.
As you said, though, they were very polite. They gave it all the time that it needed for both sides to express their concerns. They asked a lot of really good
we don't
questions.
need to make this into a TikTok video, but yes, when government or when things are not going the way that you think they should, you need to speak up and step. That's being a good citizen.
Yeah, our county and our city are both very receptive to people's input, and really thankful that we live here where we do. So,
but just remember, professional. Keep your cool.
Right.
Act like an adult. Right. There's going to be days you're going to hear things, and people may react to you in a way that's unsavory. You stay above it.
I don't know how many conflict resolution seminars or trainings I've been through in my life, but every single one of them says you let the person tell you what the problem is. You don't interrupt and say, yeah, but you don't wait for that pause where you can jump in and try to turn it a different direction.
But we all want to.
Absolutely we do. And that's our nature is to do that, which usually makes the problem worse. Instead, you let the person express what their issue is, and then you ask them questions. What do we need to do to resolve it? You try to find that common ground instead of just jumping in and starting to
It's a law enforcement tactic, too. If you ever watch, Cops or one of these shows, a lot of times the officer just lets the person spout off. And once they've done that, it's out of their system. They've calmed down. Now we can work through the problem.
Mentioning law enforcement, so I want to bring up a couple of things. As I've stated before on here, our area is one of those areas in the nation. You either want to fund your law enforcement or defund your police. And I'm so thankful we live in an area where we want to fund our law enforcement. And my story I'm going to tell you here is twofold. Yesterday was our annual visit to the detention, Chaves County Detention.
They come meet and have a meal and all that good stuff.
Well, we didn't have a meal. We just toured the facility. But we have to make sure that the commissioners tour the place at least once a year to assure that everything's being done.
Standards are being complied with. Yeah.
And we had some really rough road 6 months ago. We've have a new director. We have a new chief of security. We have some new lieutenants, and we were very understaffed, as most of the detention facilities in the state of New Mexico
there's some real issues
are extremely understaffed. We are, if not fully staffed, within one or two people of being fully staffed. The change in management style, the change in ownership of what's going on at the jail. All that has changed dramatically in the last 6 months. And the commissioners went out yesterday, and it was an eye-opener. You know,
you saw the difference?
Place is clean. We had trustees painting in the building. A lot of repairs have been done. Appropriate supervision of detainees was being done. Every post was manned. The sergeants were able to do sergeant's work instead of doing officer work because we have the staff that we need.
So it's like running like a facility like that.
It's running like a Swiss clock out there. I mean, they have done an excellent job turning things around. And again, it's because we care about law enforcement. We want to do the right thing. And we have a responsibility not only to protect the supervisors out there, the guards, but we also have to protect the detainees.
Absolutely.
You know, they're not guilty of anything. They're being held until they're tried.
They're not convicted. They're waiting sentences.
And you know, they have a lot of rights, and of course we assure that they're taken care of and taken care of appropriately. But that was a real blessing yesterday to go to the jail and see the changes that have happened in the last 6 months.
I always look at places like correctional facilities as kind of like offensive linemen in football. You know, and what I mean by that in football, where offensive linemen, if they do their job, you never hear a peep about anything. Nothing. You know, because they did their job. Everyone else gets the credit because they moved the people and did the thing and didn't get. The only time you hear about offensive linemen is when something screws up.
Right.
And correctional facilities are kind of the same way. If it's quiet, that's good. That means everything's. But when noise is coming, that means again there's probably problems here. And I would say, yeah, we heard a lot of stuff a year ago, but it's been awful quiet this last.
Right.
And that's because of what you just said.
And still, you know, there are some people there that are, in a second, are willing to jump in and do something wrong. I mean, there absolutely are people of that nature in there. And not too long ago, a month or so ago, we actually had a person decide to attack an officer as he was doing something. A couple more jumped in behind. And,
well, it is a jail. These things do happen from time to time.
But our staff is much better trained than they've been before. In fact, we're creating a new training area. They're going to start their own academy there because they don't want to just meet the minimum requirement for training and self-defense. They want to exceed that. I mean, the buy-in from everyone at the detention facility is just amazing. It's a remarkable turnaround. We had a National Institute of Jail Operations came and toured the jail for a couple of days starting January 2nd. They came as soon as the new year hit. And he was very impressed by how different it was from the last time he was in the facility in a very short time. So anyway, we have great staff. They're doing a great job. They're taking care of the people that are in there. They're assuring that things are done. Our new jail supervisor reviewed this. This is how far it goes. I mean, he reviewed the meals that are given to the detainees. And, you know, there are minimum requirements by the state.
Sure, there's health standards that have to be
minimum
met,
requirements,
nutrition
and maximum,
standards.
But because he came out of state corrections, he knows, that's the minimum requirement. But I also know that you guys can provide more nourishing meals for the same price. And so, I mean, he worked with our vendor who prepares the meals for the detainees and made sure that they're getting the healthiest meals they can get without costing the county more money. I mean, he is a good administrator, and his staff is good.
Well, and that's you get it because, and I think he gets that because it is jail at the end of the day, and we're not building Club Med here,
right?
But at the same time, if people aren't complaining about the food or treated poorly, you're going to find less tension, less because they've got nothing but time, these people.
Right.
And every little thing is going to create, and so.
And like I say, every person that's in there is not a bad person by any stretch. There are some bad people in there.
But people with idle hands and a resourceful mind could get into some shenanigans here. But if you're not treating people like animals and giving them meals that they're not grossed out by, that they can at least. I'm not saying we got to feed them steak every night, but at least food that doesn't look like something that came out of a dumpster.
Well, and the food that they got previously wasn't bad food by any means. I mean, we've eaten there many times. They provided meals, as you mentioned earlier, for the county commission, and
it's not filled with any kind of flavor or spice or because.
Well, no, it's actually not bad food, but it's kind of amazing how they can cook 300 or 400 meals a day and have them be as good as they are. But it was just the nutritional value and those kind of things. Says, here's the minimum requirement, and we're paying you this much, but you can also make these meals for this, and I know you can because you do it for
a lot of other places.
And so, he just stepped up and took care of them. But I think probably the thing that kind of sums it up for our new jail administrator is when the NIJO guy was there, the National Institute of Jail Operations, he went up to one of the new corrections officers, been there a couple of months, and he says, yeah, that guy works for me. He says, what do you mean that guy works for you? He's the jail director. He says, no, that's what he tells us. He works for us. We don't work for him. He works for us. You tell me what you need to do your job, and I'll make sure that you get it. And he really has applied that, and it's working. People respect him, both sides, whether they're
great.
in behind the bars or in front of the bars, they all respect him.
And
he makes it clear what needs to happen and how we're going to keep everybody
And
safe and happy and get through this rough time.
The key to success there is keeping it. And it sounds like he's a good communicator.
He's very good.
And I know every time when there is those dust ups in facilities, there's usually a lack of communication that causes.
And
a lot
he's
of
also
that.
a local guy, So he's got his ties to the community and
so a little bit even more invested because it's his hometown too.
Right.
Yeah.
Very respected and he wants it to be a better place. That's good. The other thing that I want to talk about just briefly is we do support our law enforcement. The county commission at last month's commission meeting approved a salary survey that we had done. It's been a while in the making, but we hired a neutral third party to come in and evaluate every job in the county and said, okay, here's what they should be making at the beginning of their career, the middle of their career, and the end of their career. And every job. And along with that, they took into account what other counties, municipalities, industry, private businesses are paying for the same sort of job. And when you look at Eddy County, Lee County, where the oil field is, of course, that's within driving distance of us. They take that into account in other counties. For instance, the same company, I believe, did Roosevelt County. And they took that into account, what they pay in the oil field in Lee County and Eddy County. But it's not driving distance for them, so it wasn't weighted as heavily. So in our county, they said, if you're doing this kind of work, person could drive to Eddy County, and so that factored in. So anyway, they approved the salary survey. We redid all of our charts and made sure that everyone's being compensated appropriately for this part of the
So the numbers are up a little bit because they are factoring those Eddy County salaries and things.
And some of the jobs, they got a substantial increase because our charts had, over who knows how many years since they've been fixed. They were compressed both horizontally, so the years of service didn't compensate you, and vertically, if you wanted to navigate your way to a better job, a lot of times there wasn't a real incentive to take on the additional responsibility because things weren't. But
everybody was busy puffing up the bottom of the list, and it was making it very not balanced at the top.
Well,
of the list.
and one of the things that created a problem in the last couple of years was the state saying that the minimum wage had to go up to $15 an hour within the next 3 years or whatever it was. And so our county commission decided, instead of coming back doing this piecemeal, little at a time, little at a time, little at a time, last year they brought the minimum, the bottom wage for all of our jobs up to $15 an hour to start there, which made it even worse. But anyway, all of our charts got fixed and updated. Our HR department, our finance department, everybody worked on that, and we made sure that it was done appropriately. Like I say, some jobs were significantly underpaid. Other jobs were pretty much right in the sweet spot.
Gotcha.
So it was just all over, and each individual, depending how long they've been there, of course, was affected differently because of where they landed on the chart.
And I would imagine, too, some variables, like depending on the job, if it's a job that's more in demand than other jobs, let's face it, other areas are going to up that to incentivize.
Right.
So that's where you're seeing some of those numbers change, is because, say they were down law enforcement, they're like, well, we're going to weigh up that to counterbalance.
So
you're seeing some of that.
You're getting ahead of me here. Right?
Sorry, okay.
So,
but I'm like,
so all the charts in the county were done except the law enforcement chart.
Okay.
And the reason was we had a union in Chaves County. We had a sheriff's union. They've had that for 5 or 6 years. I'm not real sure how long they had it. And anything that's done with the union has to be done according to the collective bargaining agreement, the CBA. There are certain timelines that you have to follow. You can't do something, even if it's perceived as good, without going through the process of making sure it's okay. For instance, last year, the county commissioners decided to give a 5% cost of living increase to everyone, and that included law enforcement, but we had to go through special steps to make sure we could give it to the sheriff's deputies.
Gotcha.
And it's only it's not the ranking officers that are part of the union. It's all the entry-level officers and patrol persons and all that. So they had a union.
Not your sergeants and lieutenants.
And they had been apparently dissatisfied with their union. I don't want to speak on their behalf. But anyway, they had already begun the process of dissolving their union. Unfortunately, it wasn't dissolved literally within days of approving the raises for everyone in the county. We couldn't do it for the detectives or the
missed
deputies
it by this much
because of the timing. And until that was either gone, if it was gone, we could do it. If it wasn't gone, we had to go through the CBA. They were in the process literally of being heard that week in Santa Fe at the Public Employees Labor Board or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So we got final approval that they are no longer a union. And so at yesterday's meeting, we were very happy to be able to go ahead and give the raises to the deputies because we do support our law enforcement in Chaves County. We have a really good benefit package as county employees.
Absolutely.
But what we see now is even comparing to the city of Roswell, they have uncertified positions that start, and then once you're certified, it starts a little higher. Our rates are fairly close. We don't have uncertified, so ours starts at the rate that they're paying their uncertified.
They're certified, gotcha.
But it also exceeds their maximum by a little bit, plus our benefits are really good.
So it's kind of comparable apples and oranges.
So at least we're comparable. Yeah.
So it's better on this end, but maybe a little bit different.
I'm not saying that we may not need to continue to evaluate it and make sure it's right, but now we have that flexibility, just like when we realized we needed to compensate our law enforcement people at the detention facility. We were able to react very quickly with that and do what we needed to correct shortcomings and problems and recruit and retain people. Now we'll be in a position where we can do that more effectively with the sheriff's department. Before, it's not that they didn't want to do it; it's just the process was so long and drawn out, so we no longer have to worry about that.
It makes them more attractive, a desirable place to work, and so, and it's competitive nature. When you have an industry that is in such demand of people, and the supply is so small, that it gets very competitive to compete to get the right people to do that. And you basically gave the sheriff's department the tools to do that fighting and battle and recruit to get to get the good people here.
We have some really good officers, and of course the state is looking at giving another 15% increase to the state police and corrections officers, which takes them immediately away from but there's only so many jobs they have. So once they're filled, I guess that'll end. But we need to be competitive. We need to make sure that we have the best and brightest and the good law enforcement people. We certainly don't want them all going down the road to another location.
Sure.
We want to be sure that we attract and retain them.
Yeah, it's a competitive game here that they play.
And in our community, we're all trying very hard to do that. And like I say, I include the city on that as well. I know they have a union, but they're all working hard to make sure that
they're in the same boat you are.
That we keep the best in our law enforcement. And we're fortunate that we live in a community where, union or not unionized, that we want to do the right thing with our law enforcement. And I'm real happy that our commission got the opportunity to do that yesterday.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. We one thing is safe to say is we here in Southeast Mexico value our law enforcement officers.
Absolutely, we do.
And all of our peace officers, we are so thankful for their service to our community, and we want to take care of you. We do. We want to back the blue here in Southeast Mexico.
We back the blue. That's it.
Absolutely.
One other thing we did with the sheriff's department is I have to turn my note over, ratification of out-of-state travel to Liberty Hill, Texas. So we have 2 K9 units. Officer Falik and his new master had to go to training, so that the former officer who was in charge of Officer Falik, his supervisor. I don't know what the hierarchy is. Maybe Officer Falik is in charge.
I think so. I think
if it's anything like my dog at home,
right.
the dog's in charge.
I'm about to say you have the officer and then the one who drives them around.
and so anyway, the officer who was handling Falik left us, and so a new officer stepped in to take over, and so he has to have training and make sure they know how to communicate
they got to build
with one
that
another,
kinship and bond and everything else.
And it's I did listen to you last hour, and I know you're anti-turtle now, so we won't put any law enforcement turtles on anything just to keep you from. I got a kick out of your comments on turtles last hour, and Miss Noble's comments back to you. Turtles are people too.
Okay.
That was fun. So we did that. We also had one other out-of-state travel request. The one for the sheriff's department was ratified because those classes just happen kind of when they happen.
Right.
And it just so happened there was an opening, and so we were able to put our person in. We want to do that as quickly as possible, but out-of-state travel has to be approved by the commissioners. And unfortunately, the class started before the commission meeting. So I got verbal approval from the chairman, and then we have to ratify. And
formalize it at the meeting.
Right. So fortunately, the other commissioners agreed that they should go, or I guess the chairman would have to pay it. He's the one that stepped out.
So I'm paying the big bucks.
But no, we did that. We had one other out-of-state travel, which is for our finance director. She's going to attend the National Association of Counties Legislative Conference with Commissioner Perry and myself next month. She's not been to that before, and we want to be sure that our senior leadership within the county understands the fights that we're having on the national level. We have county governments, so the most local government that that's the closest to each of us, is our, and then on the national level, we have National Association of Counties where all of our local governments get together and kind of figure out what are the major problems that are coming down on all of us.
Sure.
And it's often the federal government.
Yeah.
And
it's that networking side of the government, basically.
So we want to be sure that our senior leaders, so we'll start including them in some of these trips with us, see how the counties, and not just the counties in New Mexico, but the counties nationwide, are fighting the same battles, the same issues that are coming down from the federal government.
Not just unique to us here in our little
and how to deal with those and best keep us on track and keep them out of our business and allow us to do the things we need to do. So,
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good thing. And obviously, we've sung the praises of her with the in various times and financial things that the commissions had to deal with, and she comes through gangbusters.
Let me tell you what happened last week at New Mexico counties.
Yeah.
So Chavez County was given an audit excellence award. It's the 9th one that they've received for having no audit findings, for doing everything right. Your money's in safe hands in Chavez County. Between our commissioners being cautious on how they spend it, assuring that they don't spend their surplus funds that they have, that they keep those for a rainy day, making sure that everything makes sense before they fund it or allow it to be done. And then the auditing side of it, the financial side, nothing happens unless it's right.
You'd be amazed how well things can run when you run your finances properly.
Right. They have checks and balances. They have so many ways to make sure that money is not misused. And we have an auditing firm that comes in, a forensic auditing firm. They dig deep. They try to find anything that's not right or could be a weakness, a material weakness that would allow someone to, steal money or products or whatever. And man, it's a tough thing to get a auditing excellence award through when they're auditing you.
Yeah.
And we've got our 9th one. So
everything's got to be
our
so
finance
transparent.
department.
So
and that also, not only our finance department, but that also includes the treasurer. It also includes procurement, because they all have to work together.
Absolutely.
Although the oversight, we make sure that one person doesn't necessarily oversee the whole thing. Each of the checks and balances is managed through a different way, so that you don't have one person over here
doesn't give
closing his eyes and letting things happen, or
giving one person too much power or too much ability to manipulate here.
So each of those places has their specialized ways of doing things that get reviewed by others. And so that's really good.
I wish other state and federal government was put as much attention to detail on that stuff as because that's our big problem. I guarantee you'd see all of our numbers change in the state of New Mexico and the federal government if they just did some of what you guys are doing
right
at what the county level.
And it's required.
Yeah.
It's required of them, but somehow they don't seem to care. I mean, we're very honored to get 9 audit excellence awards. They get awards all the time, but last month at the meeting,
do as I say. That's the motto
really
here, and
good.
it destroys us.
I think we're probably close to being out of time.
we're about out of time here.
Okay.
We could probably do something real quick.
Okay, so
a shorter one.
we approved 2 agreements for construction management, if you want to call it that. AIA Architects, American Architects, International Architects, whatever the AIA stands for. I'm sorry, I do know what it is. I'm
the A's architect. We know that
one
part.
of those moments. But architectural agreement with Mirador Enterprises on 2 different projects. They're working on our public health department, and the architects will end up being kind of the management of assuring that project is built. I mean, we have our in-house people as well, but the architectural firm will also assist us in inspecting and making sure that's built appropriately.
They're more experts at it than our people. Let them have the final lookovers to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be.
So Mirador is building our public health department, and they're also, I'm confident that I'm not going to give you bad information. They're also going to be doing our Pecos Valley Regional Communication Center upgrade. We've been modifying one end of the building so we can move them into a much larger space and allow them to do their job better. And that's a community-wide thing. It's a regional communication center. All the volunteer fire departments, the city fire departments, city police, county sheriff's department, all of us work together through dispatch.
If you live in southeast New Mexico, you want that thing working.
Yeah, and we want them to have the best of the best. Absolutely. Again, it's support the blue, back the blue,
Absolutely.
as you said. They're a big part of it as well.
They can't help you unless they have good communication, and that building ensures they have good communication.
And we've been working on it for several years. We have a whole communication system. There's numerous towers that communicate. So you don't have to have line of sight anymore with a police car. Has to be in line of sight with the tower so that you can have the secretary send somebody out like they did in the 1950s,
Sure.
Now, wherever you are in the county, it's going to communicate with the closest tower, and then that tower will communicate with all the other towers. And so if you want to talk to somebody, this is a large county, 6,045 square miles. If you want to communicate with somebody down the Boot Hill, you're not going to have line of sight. So you hit the tower, it finds the right tower and beams it back to that car.
And now they can, use internet and satellite to kind of assist in getting some of that around in the dead spots. So,
right.
It's much better.
We have a very high quality, well thought out system here. And like I say, we're bringing up the quality of the physical location for them now. So thank you, Mike. I know I'm
anytime. We always appreciate it. And anytime you need to get on here for any reason whatsoever, let me know. And of course, we'll see you here in, I guess, about 3 weeks or so now.
About 3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks or so. Right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you,
very
Sarah.
much.
We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it.
All right, 9 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Sorello. A Clovis woman is now charged with murder after shooting an alleged intruder at her home. The Eastern New Mexico Times is reporting Alexandra Romero was initially released after being charged with involuntary manslaughter, but prosecutors later said they have found inconsistencies with Romero's story and statements. Romero is accused of shooting Javier Jimenez on August 4th after she reported finding him inside her home. Jimenez is Romero's ex-boyfriend. She had called 911 to report a burglary in progress. Police found Jimenez dead inside her home. A judge threw out the charge, saying the woman was denied due process because she was not allowed to testify before the initial grand jury. Now she's being held in jail on a murder charge with no bond. Eddy County Manager Roberta Gonzalez recently gave county commissioners an update on the state legislative activities. Gonzalez told commissioners the governor's State of the State speech focused on economic development and infrastructure largely, noting that the governor wants to dedicate about 2% of her budget, about $170 million, to the State Severance PAC Permanent Fund, investing in companies that develop advanced energy technologies. And Sheriff Mark Cage also told commissioners that he would continue to vehemently oppose any attempts to pass laws that violate the Second Amendment. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. Mild temperatures and fair weather with high pressure parked over the Four Corners. Sunshine today, and we're headed for the mid-60s. Overnight, a few clouds and mid-30s. We're in the mid-60s again for the afternoon high on Tuesday. Sunshine with a few clouds. We'll stay partly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the mid-60s. That's your latest forecast. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
The great one, Mark Levin, is now in Roswell on 106.5 KEND Roswell.
It killed several American service members at a base in Jordan near the border with Syria, and several dozen others were wounded. Now, just how and when the U.S. retaliates, that remains unclear.
Typically what presidents do in these circumstances is they ask for a sort of menu of options from the Pentagon, ranging from the least most drastic response to the most drastic response, and they pick one of those, and I'm sure that's what will happen this time around. Any one of those attacks that have happened up till now could have killed Americans. The difficulty is that this one did.
That's BBC's Gary O'Donoghue. In a statement, former President Trump writes, "This brazen attack on the United States is yet another horrific and tragic consequence of Joe Biden's weakness and surrender." Mr. Trump extending profound sympathies to the families of those who were killed, and he's urging prayer for those wounded. Well, as the tax season officially kicks off today, a majority of U.S. taxpayers feel that they're paying too much while getting too little for what they have to fork over.
A new poll from the University of Chicago Harris School of Public Policy and the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research shows about 2/3 of U.S. taxpayers say they spend too much on federal income taxes. About 7 in 10 say the same about local property taxes. Meanwhile, roughly 6 in 10 feel that way about state sales taxes.
And that's correspondent Jeremy House. Israel saying that significant gaps remain following the latest round of ceasefire talks involving the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt, but Israel says the discussions were constructive, adding they will continue in the weeks ahead. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 44 points, the NASDAQ ahead 21. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
A Hong Kong court ordering China Evergrande, that's the world's most heavily indebted real estate developer, to go through liquidation. This follows a failed bid to restructure $300 billion it's owed to banks, and it has sent shares of Evergrande tumbling.
We saw them absolutely plummet. They were basically in free fall, hitting about 20%, and then they went into a trading halt, which means investors can't even buy and sell them. Normally that kicks in at 10%, but the plummet was so extreme that it made it all the way to 20 until the trading halt kicked in. The Hang Seng generally, which of course is the index that tracks the wider Hong Kong market, it's up about 1.2%, and that's probably because investors are hopeful that there might be an end in sight. Investors no doubt happy to see some kind of resolution here.
The BBC's Katie Silva. Iran's foreign minister in Pakistan for talks aimed at easing tensions following deadly airstrikes by Tehran and Islamabad earlier this month killed at least 11 people. News and analysis, townhall.com. A statue of baseball pioneer Jackie Robinson has gone missing from McAdams Park, Wichita, Kansas.
Local police were still searching for the statue of the baseball great and civil rights icon on Friday.
There are rewards for its safe return. It was cut at the ankles, leaving only the feet remaining. City leaders say the community is angered, especially with the loss coming just before the start of February's annual Black History Month. Robinson played for the Kansas City Monarchs of the Negro Leagues before joining the Brooklyn Dodgers, which broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball in 1947. George Williams reporting.
5 American Airlines flight attendants and 1 passenger on the mend after their flight from L.A. made a hard landing on Maui. Flight 271 landed Saturday afternoon. American says the 6 people taken to a hospital were later released. The flight was carrying 167 passengers, 7 crew members. The FAA is investigating. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tabloid said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce
of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
I didn't even touch it.
You're charged up, man.
I didn't even, I would just, I was underneath the thing.
Yeah.
That was proximity shock.
Maybe the headphones
It
traveled.
cast out of my finger at that point.
You're like a wizard.
That's crazy. Wizard.
You are. You're like a wizard.
You're a wizard, Sean.
Shandolph the Grey.
Shandolph.
We're the white.
The graying, okay?
Well, happy Monday, everybody.
Yes.
Welcome to it. Speaking of nostalgia, not quite. Older than you can. Well, not really. The movies, not the TV, not the books. But I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw the toy that I've talked about as a kid that I owned. My one Star Wars toy.
Oh, okay.
That was the piece de resistance.
You had the Death Star?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. The storage capsule, right?
And here's an actual picture of it.
Okay.
Like it in my head, it's bigger.
Well, yeah, but super smaller.
This is the Death Star.
And you're gonna have to show it to the camera. Oh, okay. I think I've seen this.
Yeah, I
definitely have seen this. Yeah. It's got the different sets with the basement being the garbage.
Yeah, that orange
chute.
thing at the bottom is filled with little foam chunks. Mm-hmm. And then on the wall that you can't see, it's actually to the wall.
Go ahead and show the camera.
There's a little cranky jobber that kind of is a vise that cranks that closed, kind of like so it collapses.
And it's I'll let you stand up and show the camera. So it's 4 levels because short hands. It's 4 levels and it's just got all the different figures in their different places. Yeah. I like that Chewie and Han are in the basement, like they're waiting for their scene.
That's right.
And so it's that's definitely a classic.
Well,
setup.
in the middle there, that's the little spot where Luke swings across because that's a retractable bridge there. Yeah.
And that's it's a Kenner toy, right?
Yeah, that's Kenner. Yeah. And then the top is the gun.
Nice.
And that's an elevator. You can actually put the little dudes in there.
And that's why it seems small. It's only one section of the Death Star.
Right.
I like to think of the Death Star as like I like to think of my Death Star as like a Pentagon. Like every department is all around the thing. Like somewhere in the Death Star is the custodial department.
Right.
Like somewhere is the dude, and the whole thing blew up, and that dude was just there to clean the toilets.
That's one of my favorite conversations from the movie Clerks.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Is when they're sitting there and they're like,
"What about all the innocents?
Hey, what about
all the contractors?"
Yeah. This guy's just here getting a contract because he's got a job to fix. to build rooms or whatever to Death Star, and now they're blown up. He don't have a dog in this fight. He's just trying to feed his kids.
He's trying to feed his family. Now all he's going to get is a pressed Imperial flag, neatly folded at his doorstep to his widowed wife.
One of my favorite conversations from that movie was that one. But yeah, you know what movie I did see? Now I'm changing gears here.
Here we go.
Kim and I watched Champions over the weekend. That's on Prime for free. It's the Woody Harrelson Farrelly Brothers movie.
Oh,
where he's the coach. He's like a J League NBA coach,
right? I know.
And he gets a DUI. He ends up getting sentenced to having to coach mentally handicapped kids at like an inner youth program.
The Farrelly Brothers really loved working with
and they
with those kids.
It's just like their other movies that Stuck on You and what was that other one?
The Ringer.
The Ringer.
One of theirs. Yeah.
It's in the same vein of those movies. But it was pretty good. It was cute. It was a nice spin on it with the basketball team and how he takes them to the Nationals. Spoiler. And
that was made quite a few years ago.
Yeah, it was made during COVID.
Was it really?
Yeah,
that recently.
Yeah, it was like 2022, 21.
I had heard or remembered that the Farrelly Brothers took a turn into like really like super serious movies.
Yeah,
like one of them did.
Yeah, this one was done in the last 3 years or so.
Was it Bobby or was it Peter?
I think it was both.
Was it both?
I thought it said Farrelly Brothers.
That makes sense. When they work together, they do sort of their more offbeat comedy stuff. But I think one or the other one has like broken. I think it's Peter has broken off and just started doing like semi-serious like melodramas and stuff.
So this is,
that.
I think, the pair.
Okay.
Of course, I in my head, I know they're completely two different brothers, but I always mix the Farrelly brothers and the Coen brothers in my head.
Yeah,
and I've been watching.
That's a very different genre.
And I've been watching Fargo, that fourth season of Fargo, which I just finished. It was pretty good, by the way. And so I'm like the Coens and the Farrellys are just dancing.
Just don't confuse them with the Wachowski sisters,
right? Or the what's the Stranger Thing brothers? What are they called?
Oh gosh, I cannot.
They
remember.
got a funny name too.
They do.
Yeah,
I can't remember offhand.
Anyway,
like all I have going through my head, I know this is Vince Gilligan, but that's just because I'm
it's
breaking
something like the
down
Z Brothers or the something like that.
I can't remember.
You sound like a tag team wrestling duo. I can't remember. I can't remember.
And it's gonna come to me like right before I get it looked up. But
well, anyway, let me give you the rundown while he's procuring.
Oh, and then I got something really cool to announce. Go ahead.
This hour here, we'll get you up to date with the weather. Then we're going to play your interview we had with Crystal Noble from the Roswell Humane Society. She joined us on Thursday. Give us an update on pets. They've got lots of dogs that are looking for homes right now.
Duffer Brothers.
There you go.
Yep.
That's it. That's not that wrestling. It's just in my head.
But it is
wrestling.
the Duffers.
Yeah. Golf buddies. But yeah, so we'll do that this hour. The next hour, we'll have the folks from the Veterans Transport join us about 9:15 or so.
So I just got a call from Carletta, from my kid's mom, and she let me know that at the next school board meeting, or the state school board meeting, every one of these school board meetings, and I did not know this, they ask a couple of kids to come up and deliver the Pledge of Allegiance and some of the other officialities.
Yeah.
So Hunter, my son, was asked to do the Pledge of Allegiance at the next school board meeting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Here in Roswell?
Here in Roswell, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I just got the call just a few minutes ago, and I was just like, neat.
Nice. So I guess you're going to school board meeting?
This is my obligatory one. And I'm pretty sure they do that just to be like, hey, we're going to make sure you parents come to these meetings. But yeah, no, so they said that they're pretty sure Hunter's one of the kids in the class that can do the whole thing. And in fairness, he is, one of my kids, so he can memorize the bejeepers out of something. It's actually kind of funny. Apparently, he was walking around all day yesterday. There's like a meme song about Jeffrey Bezos, and he was just like walking around singing it. It's like something, born in 1964, Jeffrey Bezos. He was just walking around the house singing that.
Yep.
Carla called me. She's like, "Is this you?"
Yeah, he's your son. He's gonna have that. He's gonna be a grown man doing what we do every day. Just random things pop in our head. We start singing them or saying them, and people look at us like, "What is wrong with that guy?" Like it's a lot of cobwebs.
There's a whole lot of stuff going on here. All right. It's a complicated stew.
Yeah, that's right. A hobo stew, if you will.
A hobo stew. Tell you what, that and a couple of potatoes, you got yourself a stew.
That's right. Although I'm good on carrots right now. It is 8:14. Let's take a gander at your weather. A kinder, gentler weather. But we do have rain chances later.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. Mild temperatures and fair weather with high pressure parked over the four corners. Sunshine today, and we're headed for the mid-60s. Overnight, a few clouds and mid-30s. We're in the mid-60s again for the afternoon high on Tuesday. Sunshine with a few clouds. We'll stay partly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the mid-60s. That's your latest forecast. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 35 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 72% with winds out of the north at 6 miles per hour. Sunny today with a high of 65 expected. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 32. Winds will be out of the southwest at around 5 miles per hour. For you Tuesday, sunny, 66 for a high tomorrow. Winds will be out of the north at around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy. Looking at an overnight low of 36 degrees. Northwest winds at around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, 66 under mostly sunny skies. Northwest winds 5 to 10. Thursday will be in the 70s, sunny and 73. Friday, believe it or not, we got a little bit of rain chances Friday and Saturday. 20% chance of rain Friday, partly cloudy 67. 40% Friday night. 20% on Saturday with a high of 56, 20% Saturday night with an overnight low of 38. So we'll see. Maybe a little sprinkling or rain action there Friday and Saturday for us. All right, 8:16. We're going to take a 2-minute break. And then we're going to play our interview with Crystal Noble from the Humane Society. Don't go away.
Attention Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia, and all of southeast New Mexico. The University of New Mexico wants you. UNM is ranked in the top 1.5% of all universities in the world, and the only Research One university in New Mexico, with over 200 academic programs and endless opportunities. UNM is truly a world-class university. Define your future at the University of New Mexico, and UNM has increased the number of scholarships for 2021, so now is the time to apply. Apply today at unm.edu. Now accepting applications from Southeast New Mexico.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925. We have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency.
At Artesia General Hospital, our board-certified podiatrists are committed to providing personalized care in a welcoming environment. Dr. Jennifer Chow and Dr. Michael Krupa offer the latest surgical techniques and treat a range of conditions including arthritis, bunions, joint care, and more. If you're suffering from foot, ankle, or lower leg pain, we can help. Visit artesiageneral.com/foot care to request an appointment and begin your journey toward happier, healthier feet.
Roswell Appliance Outlet, Roswell's new source for appliances, is having a store-wide refrigerator liquidation sale. Now that means all in-stock refrigerators are marked down to at least 50% off of MSRP, and they all come with a warranty. With brands you know and trust like Samsung, Whirlpool, and GE, with financing and delivery options available, why go anywhere else? And why pay more? At Roswell Appliance Outlet, scratches and dents will save you serious dollars and cents. Hurry in while the selection is at its best and save 50% off or more during the store-wide refrigerator liquidation sale at Roswell Appliance Outlet, 600 South Main in Roswell.
The tool used to measure your feet at the shoe store is called a Brennick device. The person that measures your feet at home for no reason is called a creep with a foot fetish. Here's Mike Winters.
Good morning. It is 23 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Roswell Humane Society, Crystal Noble back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Enjoying the weather.
It is, it's kind of nice I like the overcast a little bit. It's kind of nice.
It kind of makes it actually feel like winter when you wake up in the morning and you got frost on your grass.
Yeah, the last 2 days I've not felt New Mexico like at all. I've felt more East Coast in the last 2 days and out here, and then I've felt in a long time out here just from the weather and stuff. So.
We need more rain.
Hopefully, maybe Friday we'll get a few more drops.
Or snow. We need some snow.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not cold enough for any of that, really. So
We need snow.
rain it is. But for folks that aren't familiar, Crystal joins us a couple times each month to give us an update what's happening at the Humane Society, which they are what they do. The Humane Society, they're a rescue for pets, and they find homes for pets. They also are home to their thrift store, which is their main source of income to keep the dogs and cats safe and healthy until they get to their permanent homes here. So that's what they do. Sell stuff at deeply discounted prices and find loving homes for dogs and cats. And I guess technically chickens and stuff if the need arises.
If chickens come in, I'm out the door. I'm not a chicken girl. Somebody else is going to have to be there.
Do you ever get like other things than dogs and cats?
We do. We get turtles, we get birds, we get ferrets, we get rabbits, we get guinea pigs.
Okay.
Snakes occasionally.
Do they get adopted or what? How does that usually work?
They normally end up going with one of the employees.
Oh, okay.
Or one of our volunteers. She lives out in the county and she has chickens. So if we get any of that stuff, I just call her and tell her, this is coming. Meet them here so you can pick them up.
Yeah. Some of those might be good, like the turtle, or if you ever get fish or something. It'd be like, you know what? You shouldn't be adopting a dog or cat. Let's start with this turtle. All right. All you got to do is keep it in its environment, feed it, water it.
You know what?
And that's all you got to do.
Turtles are actually more
intense, labor intensive,
very,
more medical.
Very, they have to have certain temperatures, certain lighting, a certain type of light.
I think if you do that, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a dog or a cat where you got to constantly give it attention and love it and treat it like a turtle. Once its needs are met, it kind of does its thing. It's a turtle.
Depending. I had two turtles when I was younger. They were aquatic turtles, and I got them when they were that big.
Yeah.
And they were friendly. Like, they would come up and get on their little basking thing, and I would pet their head, and they would turn their head and
so they were
put their
personal.
paws. Oh, they were very personable.
Nice. I've never owned those kind of things long enough to see if they're personal.
Yeah, if you get them young enough and you take care of them, they're personable just like a cat or a dog.
When I was in the Air Force, I had a good buddy of mine who he was actually a sergeant where I was just an airman, and he lived off base. He didn't live in base housing. He was an NCO. So he had a home off base, and we used to go over there on weekends and hang out and cook dinner on occasion and watch TV. Just kind of hang out, buddies, doing what friends do. And he had a big old iguana. And but he also had a pet rat, and it was the coolest rat in the world. It wasn't rat; it was more, I think it was like an albino rat or something. It was not
the white not that rat nasty with the red eyes.
Yeah, it didn't look like the New York City sewer rat. It looked more like a pet rat, but it was the coolest rat. Like it would lay on your lap, you rub its belly, it just hang out with you, it'd sit on your shoulder and chill. And one of the more personable rodents I've ever come across. That
my aunt had a white rat that creeped me out to no end because of the red eyes.
Yeah.
Then when lights hit them, they're like
that albino.
You can see behind their eye, and I'm like, oh,
translucent.
Nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
And iguanas. When I was in high school, our biology teacher had a iguana in the room. His name was Iggy. When you got in trouble, you had to clean Iggy's cage.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't imagine reptile poop as being that much fun to clean up.
It's disgusting. I didn't even get in trouble, and it was disgusting.
Right.
But we have, starting on Tuesday of next week, if the weather permits, we have a roofing company that's going to be starting our roof.
Nice. Now, how does that work for the animals and everything? Can they work around them, or do they have to move them? Or?
Well, they're coming out early Tuesday morning, and they're going to give me the layout of, okay, so on this day, we're going to be doing this section. This day, we're doing this section. So that way, if we need to close, we have a 24-hour notice.
Sure, and then you can shift to move the animals to where they're safe.
But they're going to try to do it to where we don't have to close.
Okay. So the goal is to stay open, but depending on how this process goes, that may change as needed.
Right. We definitely are looking for donations towards helping the cost of this because it is very expensive.
I would imagine, yeah. So please come donate, buy, from the thrift store, if you'd like to make a monetary donation straight out, that would be amazing. It is a nonprofit organization. All the money you donate, all of the things you contribute when you sign up to become a member, whether it's your kids or your family or whatever, that money goes back to the resources of that Humane Society, whether it's paying for that roof or paying for vet bills or paying for just the cost of raising cats and dogs in a facility here.
It is very expensive.
Yes.
And that's even with them giving us a discount because of us being a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would like to make a donation towards the roof, we have our donate button on the website. You can donate through PayPal.
Yeah.
There are areas on there to leave special instructions. You could just put towards roofing fund. Or if you want to mail in a check, come by. Just let us know you would like it to go towards the roof.
Yeah, we'll put it specifically for that. And of course, if you come and you say, hey, I've got food that I want, or I got food, litter, things like that, we always
puppy
accept that
food
stuff.
is a big right now need.
All of it helps keep
it
that
does.
shelter going.
It really does.
Because guess what? If you donate food, then that's less money they have to spend on food. They can put it towards the roof.
Right.
So all of it
and
helps.
we have to have a roof in order for us to be able to keep doing what we're doing because our roof is very bad.
So all the donations are very helpful. It all goes towards a good thing. So if you have that food or pick that up. But if you'd like to, if you're like, I don't have time to go to the store. I don't know a pet owner, but I love pet, maybe I can't own one, but go to the RoswellHumane.org website and hit that donate now button and throw some shekels there because
please
it would and I'm telling you this now because the Humane Society, they really in a community where we have a pet overpopulation problem. Roswell's been notorious for this problem for a long time. I would argue it is better than it was 20 years ago, but it's still not where it needs to be. We have too many pets that need homes and aren't being taken care of. Too many feral cats and strays that are roaming the streets and stuff because people thought owning a pet was a good idea and decided against it when they learned out there's responsibility. All these things are still a problem. However, the Humane Society is really one of the biggest in town. That's really, there are no kill shelter. They go like even places like animal control where, they try not to, but when there's too many animals and not enough cages, they've got to euthanize. And guess what? Humane Society is that one of those great organizations that try to come in and save the day to eliminate as many of those euthanations as possible here. So by you helping out with the roof, by you doing this, you're keeping this tradition going of making sure these animals have a home, and we're not euthanizing animals that could have been some loving family's home.
Right, because at the end of the day, we're here to be a part of the community and to help the community. And if we don't have a proper structure, we're not able to house the animals properly and safely, and we wouldn't be able to operate. So for the safety of the animals and staff and customer shopping at the thrift store, we need to have this roof put on so that way nothing collapses, nothing falls in, no water leaks coming down, people shopping, got water pinging on their head. It's a safety feature.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for safety reasons.
For people and pets. It's for everybody.
And
Absolutely.
so in order for us to be able to do what we do daily, and to be successful at it, we need help.
Absolutely. So please, volunteer even. They're always looking.
Dog walkers are always needed.
We're in
we're in the good weather.
Yeah, so we're in a time of year where it's a good season for taking the dogs out where it's not too hot yet.
Yeah.
The weather's, pretty mild, so you can take them on nice walks and not freeze or burn the poor dog and cat's paws here. So if you can't own a pet because you live in an apartment or something or
your landlord doesn't allow them, because that's one of the things we're finding is the biggest issue right now as to why people are wanting to surrender their pets is landlords are changing their policies and not allowing pets anymore and making them give up their pets.
Absolutely. Well, it's for them, it's a cost thing. And
it's also for the unresponsible pet owners in the past who have.
Well, exactly. We're seeing the fruits of what irresponsible people are doing. And it's so sad because you're right. I think most of us are great. They treat animals great. They love them. Some of us a little bit more overboard than others. Maybe they treat them like people instead of, dogs sometimes.
My dogs are my kids.
Yeah.
And so is my horse.
Which ain't nothing wrong with that. But I think most of us are like that. I really think it's like this 1% of humans that do these god-awful things to animals. And unfortunately,
they stand out more than the people who do good.
Yeah. And let's face it, we get more mad when we see that because, and this is at least my logic, I think, I could be wrong, but because we look at animals as defenseless, like they don't know, they don't understand the environment, the situation, the scenario. So we're instantly going to defend that. Whereas another human being, sure, kids, we all, but as human beings, like you knew what you were getting into before this moment started. We're a little less sympathetic there, and good, bad, or indifferent. That's the way I think human nature is, and I think it's just because we look at animals as they don't understand what's going on. They're just reaping what some idiot's doing to them and don't know the circumstances. So even when they're quote unquote training a dog, if you're doing that kind of stuff, you don't realize that the dog doesn't understand why you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? It doesn't connect to them.
No, and I tell everybody, animals are just like young children, young kids, toddlers. They have a voice. We just don't understand what they're saying.
Right.
And so we have to be the ones to help decipher what's wrong and help them and try to fix it. And if we're not going to be a voice for them, then they have no voice.
Sure.
And there's enough homeless animals in this town that need a voice.
And to be honest, I think dogs by nature, and this is all dogs, little, big, everyone, by nature, they want to make their owner, their
master happy.
Happy. They do. They dogs by nature thrive on praise. And that's why they always tell you when you're training a dog, when they do something right, go over the top praising them because that sinks in. They get, mom or dad loved that. I need to keep doing that. This is what's making them love me more, and they want to do those kind of things.
Cats,
cats, different animal, but they will do it to a point too. They just are way more nonchalant about it. You need to do. They're very pattern creatured. They
are a habit creature, and if you change their habit, it is not fun.
I saw the funniest video earlier of a cat. The cat's watching a Mike Tyson fight on TV.
Is the cat sitting up and he's boxing at the TV
well,
too?
no, even different.
Oh, okay.
Even different. This one, he's sitting on the back of the couch watching the fight, and you see the boxer keeps doing this, ducking and weaving the punches.
Yeah.
And then they cut to the cat fighting another cat. That same cat fighting, I guess, a sister or whatever, brother, whatever cat there. The cat's sitting there doing and then hits a pot of watch. And they were like saying the cat learned it on TV.
Oh my God.
And watching the cat.
Well, I saw the one where
like
they
Mike
had
Tyson.
The cat sitting on like the TV entertainment stand.
Yeah.
And like they had a boxing match on. And so the cat is like this, sitting up on its back legs, and it's hitting the person and it's going like this, and I'm laughing because like the cat's in the match.
Right.
And so instead of them watching the match, they're watching the cat.
Right.
Because the cat's boxing an invisible person.
I saw another clip of a cat watching soccer and kept trying to stop kept diving in, trying to see.
Oh.
Didn't succeed, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
But yeah, cats, they got their thing too.
They do, and like they like their praises in different ways versus dogs, like it over the top. Cats like it a little bit more subtle because loud things, cats are like, eh.
Yeah. Although I'll do it anyway. Just, oh, stop it. I'll pick them up. You know what I mean? I can do that. You guys better not, but I can do that.
Yeah, my cat's going to get you if you do that.
I'll tell her to shut up, but she won't. She listens to me. But even my wife, she'll fight her sometimes.
That's funny. But at the thrift store, so the thrift store has outbeat Walmart for once. Yes. So we have Valentine's stuff out, but we also have Easter stuff.
Nice. You got to jump on the Easter and
Valentine's.
Valentine's.
Got to jump on the Easter and Valentine's. I know Walmart's got a ton of Valentine's stuff out. But Camille's like, I'm pulling out Easter, and I'm like, it's only January. And she goes, I'm beating Walmart.
So if you need your Valentine's stuff, or if you need your Easter baskets and grass and all the ancillary stuff for Easter,
come by the thrift store.
They've got a lot of it out.
Instead of paying $20-$30 for new baskets and grass and all that stuff, you can get them for pennies on the dollar.
They have brand new bags of grass that people bought, never used, and donated. So it's not like it's got melted chocolate or anything in it. These are brand new pieces of the fake grass in a bag.
Sorry, it's not the dispensary grass. This is the Easter candy in your basket grass.
This is the children's grass.
Just to clarify, in case someone's tuning in. They got bags of grass.
Yeah, this is children's grass. Clothes. If anybody is needing clothes, they have a lot of clothes. Men's, women's, kids.
Excellent.
From dress clothes to work clothes.
Of course, we're changing seasons. It's gonna be wet. You know, if you still need a coat or two, there's probably those. But
they do.
If you probably need to get some more spring line stuff for the kids, now's a good time to start doing some of that shopping.
Right. You want to get some next size up clothes for the kids? Come down.
Absolutely.
Shoes. They got a ton of brand new Nikes donated.
Nice.
Variety, kids, men's, women's.
Various sizes.
Various sizes.
Nice.
House lights. The outer lights that you set up for like the and stuff.
Like is it like LED ones or just kind of
like the ones that look like that have like the dome over them that are kind of decorative.
Yeah.
The outdoor decorative lights. They got 5 or 6 of those donated brand new in the
awesome.
box. They still have 2 flat screen TVs. I think they're the 42 inches.
Okay.
They work. They just don't have remotes, and you can buy universal remotes. So.
Well, if you got or if you have a cable or satellite or something, they usually come with a remote that you program and
right.
Yeah. So.
They still have that royalty set, and Sean and I talked about this last time I was here for the proper name of it, because it's basically like when you're watching stuff like Queen Elizabeth, you know how they get their tea and
it's
stuff.
A formal tea
It's
set.
a formal tea set.
With the tray and the cups and the saucers
Everything.
And the pitcher, the whole nine, yeah.
And it's white and blue. It's very, very pretty. And it is the complete set, so you could set up like 6 people to come and have
Probably
tea.
very nice and very expensive too, I'm guessing.
When they looked it up online, the entire set valued at like $900.
Yeah, I'm about to say these are collector's items.
And they have it listed for $200.
Wow. So you can save some coinage.
Yes.
If you're a collector of these types of things. I know there's people out there love collecting this stuff.
Yes.
Well, you can get basically $1,000 set for about $200.
I think it's a 24-piece Fiesta set.
Oh wow.
Fiesta's expensive.
Fiesta's expensive and highly coveted. I know.
They have that, I think, for $100 for the entire set. 24 pieces for $100.
See, this is what we talk about with the thrift store. You can literally get high-ticket items for pennies on the dollar because people are kind enough to donate these kinds of things.
Yep.
So, thank you to the people that donated those items. It's great that you were able to part with those things, and someone needs to take advantage of that. I know that's a unique purchase for somebody.
It is.
But I know there's somebody out there that it's way into collecting that kind of stuff and probably would covet that very much to have in their
There's
home.
a lot of people out there that love Fiesta and don't know that we have it. Well, we have it.
You keep popping in.
We have a Facebook page for the kennels and for the thrift store. And so they will post a lot of stuff that's nicer and higher quality.
Sure.
They'll post it on Facebook to let people know, hey, come down.
Well, yeah, so like and follow that. But I would, if you're a lover of collector of things and all that, I would make it a point to once a week
check them.
Come into the thrift store. I know we have our Wednesday crew that comes in at opening on Wednesday to search for because that's the new stuff show up on the shelves Wednesday. They're Wednesdays. They're closed that Tuesday and Monday. That's the day they restock, resupply, re-inventory, do the housekeeping side of the thrift store there, and then so the new stuff's on Wednesdays. So I would make it a point to just come every Wednesday, take a gander, never know what you see, and odds are you're probably gonna find something or two that you're like, oh, I would love that for the home. Oh, it's $5. Yeah, let's get that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's such a and every penny that you do are helping to pay to take care of those animals and take care of that shelter. So
they have a ton of DVDs.
Okay. And they're kind of getting a resurgence in people wanting them. Like a lot of people are now realizing, oh, wait a minute, I buy these things digitally and I don't really own them. I only own them as long as I own the service.
Right.
And they want actual physical copies of these movies that they love. So, yeah, DVDs are kind of making a little bit of a comeback. The younger generation are finally like, oh, wait, I kind of like holding on to a movie that I can pop into something and watch anytime I want.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So if you're looking for DVDs,
They have like an entire wall full of them.
And those DVDs and Blu-rays are probably a couple bucks a piece, and as opposed to $10, $20, $25,
$49 for some.
depending on the movie. Yeah. So start building your physical collection.
Yes.
By coming to the thrift store.
They had a bunch of unopened packages of adult diapers, the incontinent diapers.
Okay.
The lady said that they sent her the wrong size for her husband.
Okay.
And so she's like, I told them to return them and give us the right size, and they told her to donate them.
Gotcha.
So they're brand new, not open.
So if you need some of those,
or know somebody who does,
you probably get them real cheap.
Medical braces for like your wrists, your elbows, knee sleeves, and stuff like that.
Okay.
They have a lot of those.
Good deal. And that stuff gets expensive too. If you go to like just Walmart or wherever to buy those things, yeah, they're a lot of money. So and they're good to have on hand, in case you sprain your wrist or something.
Right.
So
like just a regular like wrist brace was $49. And I was like, wow.
You buy this for probably what, $10, and then
five, that.
And then just keep it in the first aid kit or in the bathroom, wherever you keep that kind of stuff until you need it.
And then they have calling all purse ladies, a lot of purses, a lot.
I'm not telling my wife.
I might. No.
Everybody but my wife can go and get the purse.
And then for gentlemen, Valentine's Day is coming up.
That's right.
So if you want to be sweet and you want to be thoughtful and you want to be creative, they have an entire bookshelf full of vases.
Nice.
So you can arrange your own flower decoration, or if your wife is into something other than flowers, you can make like a chocolate bouquet and use the vase. Yeah. Me, I like pickles, so.
Well, and even because there's a lot of brand new stuff there too.
It is
you could get her something brand new. Don't tell her you got it at the thrift store for a third of the price you would have bought it new. I'm gonna tell.
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, sweet, you saved money.
And to be honest, you might even say, yeah, I saved us money and helped out the Humane Society, which she might even be appreciative of. You know what? There's another thing too. Maybe she has it all or he has it all and is impossible to shop for, but loves pets. Make a donation in their name to the Humane Society. And I think we could print out a certificate or something saying we donated $100 in your name or whatever it is.
And we will send an acknowledge out saying so-and-so made a donation in or in honor of you for your birthday or Valentine's Day or whatever.
So if you do have a person that has it all kind of thing, or they just buy their own, that's my problem. My wife just buys things she wants. So when it's time for her to get something she wants, she's like, I already got it. Or, I don't know I want it yet. So
I save things for my husband. So I'm like, okay, he's going to need to know things that I want. So I'll send him things. And I purposely don't buy those things so that way he has ideas.
Right.
See, I'm thoughtful.
You are.
But this Saturday also, Camilla's going to do a special sale. They have a big old board like that they pop outside the front door now, and it lists whatever sale of the day they're having.
Nice.
So this Saturday, she said they're going to do something real special.
Good. So be on the lookout. I'm telling you, these deals are great. And this is where I say they offer, and she does this she offers discounts to, frequent
if
members. If
you're military, you get a discount. Seniors get a discount on certain days.
And she does all that. But the thing is, it's a nonprofit. So please, if that's what you need to do it, take advantage of it. Awesome. But I've always been like, don't worry about the sale. Just, because this is going back to help the pets.
Right.
And so if you don't want to pay the sale price because you want to help, please offer. But if that's what you need to get that item to help you and your family, and at the same time we're helping, take advantage of these bad boys. But if you are of means, and I get it, you want to save a buck, I get frugal and all that too. But I love that they do the specials. I love the sales, and it's a great thing. But remember what we're doing at the end of the day here, and it's to help these animals.
We're keeping a roof over their heads.
Yeah, and so I don't mind paying a little bit extra for these things if I know it's going to help these pets. So I appreciate the sales. I love the sales and all that, but don't let those be the reason you go there for the thrift store. Go there to find an item that helps you out, saves you a few bucks, but at the same time gets to keep these animals sheltered and on the hunt to find their forever homes. So because at the end of the day, when you come down and buy pants or shirts or crock pots, that's what you're doing.
They have brand new Eagle, whatever that name brand is. Okay, see, like you can tell I'm not name brand. Brand new with the tags on them. I saw them yesterday. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Wish I was that skinny.
Yeah, let me know if you procure a Stanley Cup, and anyway, because we'll have to market and promote not the award that the NHL gives out, but you've heard about these Stanley Cups, right?
Okay, so I laughed because the president of the Humane Society came in the other day and she had a Stanley Cup, and I said, "Oh, you're part of that group." And she goes, "Okay, first of all," she goes, "it was a Christmas gift." She goes, "And second of all, I don't know why they're so popular." She goes, "I've had a Stanley Cup and a Stanley Bowl for like 30 years."
Well, have you heard the story on how?
No.
Sean told me about a month ago with what happened. Apparently, there was a video, TikTok or whatever video
of the husband with the 5-gallon jug making fun of his wife with her big cup.
No, different.
Oh, okay,
one. That was an offshoot of this.
Oh, okay.
It originally started when a guy or a girl or somebody had a car fire, and it burned up the car. And after the results of the car, they found the Stanley Cup in there, kind of burn up and everything. But you open up, there's still liquid with ice in it inside of it. So everyone's like, "Dang, that's a good cup." Big car. And so everybody and their uncle start buying Stanley Cups. And that's how it turned into a thing off of a video that someone saw that a car burned up and the Stanley Cup was in there and it still had ice in the cup. And they're like, "That's a good cup." And
That's
so now everybody's
funny.
losing their everyone's mind and think now they got a cup that'll keep ice eternity, keeping ice in a cup until the next ice age.
Okay, they went from like $29 to $150.
Yeah. Well, and then Stanley, of course, they shared it, went viral, and I think they hooked the person up and bought him a new car and a Stanley Cup.
Here's an uncharred.
But yeah, so that's kind of the gist of how it all caught on. But
Okay,
I know
well-
they're overinflated price wise, and now they're something that was very pedestrian is being treated like it is the Hope Diamond. So.
Well, I laughed because I saw this TikTok video or Reels video, one of the two. And this wife, she has like a Stanley Cup, and it's the big cup, and she's got the handle, and she's walking around with it. And then her husband comes in, and he's got a 5-gallon water jug that's got the handle on it.
Yeah.
And he's got a pool noodle stuck inside of it, and then a little straw sticking out of the pool noodle. And he's all, "This is how you look with that big old cup." And he's like flinging it around, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then there was one with like a 5-gallon water bucket too, and I was like,
They were Southern, weren't they?
yeah.
Yeah. See, Southern people, the sense of humor of Southern people just different. And
Yeah.
that's vintage Southern people humor right there.
That's people that don't get their feelers hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a bless your heart moment right
Yeah.
there.
And I laugh because I'm like, what is the big deal with these stupid cups?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a Yeti,
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not like, a Yeti person either because these are.
Yeah, you got a Stephen King cup, looks like. Here.
Yes, it is. This was a Christmas present from my Felicia 2 or 3 years ago, or 4 or 5 years. I don't know.
Nice.
I've had it forever.
See, good for you.
We all float.
This cup is this one I got at Christmas. My wife, for her school, instead of having a Christmas party this year for all the staff, they bought each of the teachers a cup, and it was just like this one, and they had it monogrammed and everything.
Oh, okay.
But it was I liked the cup because it was actually a little bigger mine, but skinnier and taller, and so it fit my car better, and all that. So I was like, you know what, I'd like one of those, and so she got me one. This was the least feminine of the bunch. This cream white color. They're mostly like in pastel colors, so I was like, I'm good on those. But it's in a good cup. I broke the straw 3 minutes into owning it, but it's a good cup. But it's not a Stanley Cup, and it's like $20, not $200.
I don't know. I saw if they're the true Stanley Cups, they're on Temu for like $8.
Yeah, those are the true ones on Temu.
I love Temu.
Yeah, you and Sean. Although I think Sean's is souring a little on Temu.
Okay, so
he's been
I
less
placed
Temu.
one order last year, and then I just placed an order last night because I want this little car vacuum cleaner thing, and it's battery operated and plugs into the car charger, and you could just vacuum up stuff if you make a mess, and it's small.
Well, I think Sean was borderline getting to be a problem. Like, he was starting to come in with like this sack of things, and it's just stuff he got off Temu, and like 2/3 of it, I'm like, that'll be broken in a week. But he loved it. Kids, and of course, kids got a hold. And guess what happened? breaks in a week. But for a while there, I think Sean's calmed down. But I think there was a problem. We almost had to have an intervention or a meeting about it.
That's too
he was
much.
coming in with these bags of Temu things. It's like, what are you buying? Why? Take that man's phone away from him. He needs to stop being on the internet.
Uninstall that app.
You do not need that.
That is a nay-nay.
Yeah. But anyway, I just saw the time.
I know.
As far as the pets go, how are the adoptions? How are we selection right now?
A lot of dogs. I have a transport on Monday, so all of the cats that I have are going.
Okay.
So I will be waiting for someone to come out of quarantine before we have any cats available.
Okay.
And then lots of dogs.
Okay.
I have every single kennel full in the kennel with dogs. I even have dogs up in the front in cat cages.
Oh, wow. So definitely got a big, little, all the above?
All of the above, from small to medium to large to big-biggin.
Good deal. Please, folks, don't forget the adult dogs and the big ones. Everyone likes to gravitate towards the puppies and things because it's just human nature. But don't forget, there's a few dogs that have been there a while that are just looking for a loving home, and they're great dogs.
We have
they don't check all the boxes that people look for sometimes.
We have a pit mix. I think she's pit boxer. We named her Queenie. So sweet, so friendly, very happy to meet new people. Loves to go on walks. If you want a office dog or a dog to just hang out with you, that's the dog.
Companion dog.
Yeah, and then like her energy level is whatever your energy level is. She's not like bouncing off the walls, tearing up stuff. If you want to go run, she's gonna run.
Nice.
If you want to sit, she's gonna sit.
So it might be a single or older or person that
she wants to be wherever you are.
Yeah, that's sometimes those dogs aren't the puppy; they're the 6-year-old. They're the
and she's 3 years old.
Yeah,
but
so a young dog, still very young.
She's very young. She just has. Because of her size, and a lot of people, they're intimidated.
Yeah. And let's face it, bigger, older dogs, a bigger dog,
she's housebroken.
So it's all, but generally 10 to 14 years, depending on the breed.
Mm-hmm.
And smaller dogs, you might see them 18 years and things like that. So I get it. Sometimes you're like, I'm only going to get this dog for a couple of years. But
then think about it,
think about how much love you can give that dog for the couple of years you got left.
Right.
And that's the point I make.
Give that animal the happiest time of its life that it's ever had, because I don't know her backstory. She was found as a stray. And so I can't say, she came from a wonderful home that unfortunately had mishaps.
Yeah, she may have had a hard life. We don't know. But
you can tell she's definitely had a few litters of puppies because she's got big boobs.
I would also, she's nursed a lot and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would even offer that, dogs are like people. As people get older, you get wiser. And dogs and cats are the same way. They, the dog that's 8 is not going to do things that a 2-year-old dog does. It just doesn't. And by that, I also mean it's also going to understand and probably respond to you much better, because that dog has been around people for a longer time.
Dog is never too old to learn new things.
And once the dog learns your personality, will probably slip into your routine much quicker than a puppy that you quote unquote have to train to do that. Where this dog's going to be a little bit more intuitive to read and react to what you're doing and be more receptive to try to emulate that or try to coexist with that.
Right.
So that's so even though the dog doesn't check all the boxes that you initially walk in, sometimes you're going to meet the best personality, the best well-functioning animals are those older pets that people tend to walk past. So.
They are. And I could talk all day about older dogs we have, and we could still be here tomorrow morning.
Yep, absolutely. So please don't forget those guys. Those are the ones that end up in the shelter for 6 months and a year, and they get institutionalized. And that's the saddest thing to see. And I know the Humane Society does all the loving and everything on these animals, but at the end of the day, they're still in a cage for a long hunk of the day. And that does, anything, any person body that at some point that's going to get to you a little bit. So it's just what it is. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks here.
Yes,
Don't forget RoswellHumane.org. Come on by the thrift store or the shelter there on East McGaffey. Give the hours real quick.
Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 12 and 1 to 4:30 for the kennels. And the thrift store is Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 4:30.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes.
9:59, quick break before they kick me off the radio.
This woman is now charged with murder after shooting an alleged intruder at her home. The Eastern New Mexico Times is reporting Alexandra Romero was initially released after being charged with involuntary manslaughter, but prosecutors later said they have found inconsistencies with Romero's story and statements. Romero is accused of shooting Javier Jimenez on August 4th after she reported finding him inside her home. Jimenez is Romero's ex-boyfriend. She had called 911 to report a burglary in progress. Police found Jimenez dead inside her home. A judge threw out the charge, saying the woman was denied due process because she was not allowed to testify before the initial grand jury. Now she's being held in jail on a murder charge with no bond. Eddy County Manager Roberta Gonzalez recently gave county commissioners an update on the state legislative activities. Gonzalez told commissioners the governor's State of the State speech focused on economic development and infrastructure largely, noting that the governor wants to dedicate about 2% of her budget, about $170 million, to the State Severance PAC Permanent Fund, investing in companies that develop advanced energy technologies. And Sheriff Mark Cage also told commissioners that he would continue to vehemently oppose any attempts to pass laws that violate the Second Amendment. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. Mild temperatures and fair weather with high pressure parked over the Four Corners. Sunshine today, and we're headed for the mid-60s. Overnight, a few clouds and mid-30s. We're in the mid-60s again for the afternoon high on Tuesday. Sunshine with a few clouds. We'll stay partly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the mid-60s. That's your latest forecast. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. The district basketball schedule is right around the corner for teams like the Roswell girls basketball squad. And Roswell prepared for this by taking on Portales on the road on Saturday. That's a tough task, and Portales proved to be a little bit too much for the Coyotes. 51-36, Portales wins it. Roswell falls to 10-9 on the season. Portales, meanwhile, is 15-4. Roswell plays at Hobbs, which is now 17-3 after whipping up on Artesia over the weekend. That game will take place Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, the Goddard girls will take on Portales in its district opener. We just talked about them. That'll be on Friday. Goddard is getting ready for that by defeating Santa Teresa on the road Saturday by a score of 50-15. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell Talk FM 106.5.
All across America, this is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Technology earnings this week. Fed meetings kick off. Wall Street riding a 2-week win streak. Inflation data and earnings boosting stocks last week. All three major indexes still up for the year. Investors waiting on more economic updates and key technology reports this week. Microsoft and Alphabet both reporting after tomorrow's market close. Microsoft eclipsed $3 trillion in market cap last week. The stock trading at more than $400 a share. Alphabet revenue expected to have risen 12% year over year. Apple's quarterly report after Wednesday's close. Key employment updates this week. Tomorrow, the December JOLTS report expected to show labor demand still cooling. Wall Street targeting less than 8.5 million job openings last month, down from 8.8 in November. Private payrolls likely added fewer jobs this month. Wall Street targeting a more than 20,000 job decline over last January. Update before the January ADP employment update before Wednesday's opening bell. Non-farm payrolls Friday. Please join me twice each weekday for the Lou Dobbs Business Report right here.
Business news you need to know. Keep listening for more. This is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
Companies in the United States are 10 times more likely to be a victim of a cyber attack. Manufacturing, healthcare, retail, financial services, the leading targets. Ericson's Cyber Z Suite provides the protection you need before your data gets stolen, bank accounts get drained, and operations are at a standstill. Call Ericson today to schedule a no-obligation consultation. That's 908-878-7717. Ericent, ERACENT.com. 908-878-7717.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you can say, no, I'm growing like a bamboo. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 8:59, closing in on 9 o'clock. Town Hall News coming up here in just a few seconds. Stay tuned next hour, about 9:15 or so. We'll have the folks from the Veterans Transport join us, Megal Duran, and maybe some of the others there, talking a little bit about what they do. They're always looking for more volunteers to help drive veterans to their medical appointments, things like that. But we'll learn all about that next hour. But first, Town Hall News. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on the other side of news. Do not go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Illinois, the latest state to consider removing former President Trump from the primary ballot.
Clark Erickson, a retired judge and a Republican, presided over a hearing in Illinois Friday at which attorneys for Trump and citizens seeking to keep him off the state's ballot presented their arguments. The Illinois State Board of Elections is expected to consider his recommendation on Tuesday. Erickson wrote that Trump should be removed from Illinois' primary ballot, concluding that a preponderance of the evidence presented proved that Trump engaged in insurrection in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. But he also said the decision should be left to the courts, comparing an attempt to resolve a constitutional issue with an election board hearing to holding a heavyweight boxing match in a telephone booth. I'm Jennifer King.
President Biden promises a U.S. response to an attack in the Mideast that killed several American service members and wounded dozens more.
The president said the U.S. military had a tough day when 3 Americans were killed and dozens more military members were injured near the Syrian border. Speaking at a Baptist church in South Carolina, Mr. Biden said the U.S. shall respond after he observed a moment of silence. He blamed Iran-backed militias for the first U.S. fatalities after months of strikes by such groups against American forces across the Middle East amid the Israel-Hamas war.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston says former President Trump issued a statement calling the attack by Iranian proxies another horrific and tragic consequence of Joe Biden's weakness and surrender. North Korea's dictator Kim Jong-un's dream of a nuclear-armed navy is a step closer to reality. Pyongyang says Kim has supervised test firings of cruise missiles designed to be launched from submarines, has also reviewed efforts to build a nuclear-powered submarine. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. The Dow down 33 points, the Nasdaq trading 9 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Iran's top diplomat on a fence-mending mission to Pakistan.
Hossein Amirabad-Dollahian wants to calm tensions after deadly airstrikes by Tehran and Islamabad earlier this month killed at least 11 people in a significant escalation in fraught relations between the two neighbors. The foreign minister says he'll hold in-depth talks with his Pakistani counterpart, Jalil Abbas Gilani. Relations between the two countries were imperiled after Iran targeted militants in Pakistan's restive southwestern Baluchistan province, killing 2 children. Pakistan, a day later, launched airstrikes against alleged militant hideouts inside Iran, killing at least 9 people. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Sri Lankan diplomats talking with Somali authorities as they try to learn the whereabouts of a fishing vessel and its 6 crew members. They're suspected of having been abducted by Somali pirates. News and analysis, townhall.com. A tragic and deadly mistake in California.
A 911 recording shows a police dispatcher failed to tell 2 officers before they were fatally shot by a convicted gang member that the suspect reportedly had a gun and was under the influence of drugs. El Monte police officer Joseph Santana and Corporal Michael Paredes were killed in 2022 while responding to a report of a stabbing at a motel. The gunman, Justin Flores, then took his own life. Jason Walker reporting.
Oklahoma State Trooper Jesse Gregory, who was thrown to the ground when a vehicle he had pulled over for a traffic stop was hit by another vehicle, says he feels lucky that he was able to walk away. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol posted dash cam video on its Facebook page. Happened along I-40 recently near the Oklahoma City suburb of Yukon. Townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel witch and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3 of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yes.
Hope your Monday's going swimmingly well.
Quite nice.
Blowing like butter.
That's right. Good weekend. Nice, overall relatively uneventful. Had a couple of the fellows over to watch the Royal Rumble on Saturday.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Including young Roy. It went good. Just, probably overplanned, had too much food, had a lot left over. Well, I thought I would have a lot left over, except for Roy went ahead and took the entire meat and cheese tray home with him.
That's the great thing about Roy. Roy will not allow leftovers.
That's right. He does definitely clean up.
He's like, nope, I will take those with me and consume them at a later date.
I just pictured him yesterday just eating tiny cheeses and just laughing to himself. But overall, it was a good weekend.
Was like the wrestling up to expectations, or
it was a less than like stellar Rumble. I mean, I've seen a lot better, but the fun of it though is sort of just having like the group there to, we do the countdown from 10 to 0 with the Royal Rumble. And what was funny is this year they were very sponsored. It was everywhere. C4, the energy drink, sponsored the countdown clock.
Okay.
So every time it would get to 4, it would flash C4. So, I think it was Cricket 5G was another big sponsor.
Okay.
So there was 5G all over the ring. So as we counted, it turned into 7, 6, 5G, C4, 3, 2. So that was sort of like our running joke throughout the night, and it was it's a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. That kind of takes away from some of the sting of it being a less than stellar show. Having the group there.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Well, good. At least you had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
So when's their next
We figure,
Planned.
well, there's Lemmy Chambles / Elimination Chamber next month in Perth, and I'm definitely planning on doing something for WrestleMania. That's a couple months away, but I figured I got a 75-inch screen and access to Peacock. Why not use them?
Is that where they put all these wrestlings on Peacock?
Yeah, it's their.
Are they pay-per-view or are they included with Peacock?
So it's a PLE, so it's a premium live event. It's included in the price of the thing. Based on your tier, you get served ads, and so they have to like work in ad time on these shows. So while people are watching commercial breaks, you're getting like WWE stuff and like merch store open. Come check out our shirts and all that.
You get their promos instead of
exactly. You get their
sponsor
commercials.
promos.
So
is that any better?
Not really. But it's interesting because last week there was a huge deal with Netflix. They signed what amounted to a $5 billion deal.
Yeah, that went down right before the whole Vince McMahon thing.
All that other stuff,
Yeah.
came to roost, so to speak. Which that's also heated over the weekend. Slim Jim pulled their sponsorship, and that was one of the only reasons that McMahon stepped down. Was that domino was huge. Slim Jim in WWE.
Macho Man had that locked down for a long time.
But it's really funny because they obviously came back because there was one specific match. It was the 4-way where there was not a single spot on that ring apron, the guardrails, anything that did not say Slim Jim all over it.
Yeah.
In fact, LA Knight, one of the guys in the match, had a Slim Jim commercial right before. They're like, "Thank you for coming back to us. We love you." It really was a big.
Everyone's snapping into Slim Jims that night.
We're real happy to have you back, and let us show you how happy.
So yeah, I think they should have all done their own Randy Macho Man Savage version.
Yeah,
because he was the icon of Slim Jim.
Oh yeah,
in the 90s and 80s.
Oh yeah. Which is funny because they still have. You can still get Slim Jims, and they're called Savage size, and they have a picture of Macho Man on the thing. Well, I'm sure they worked that out with the Poffo estate.
Oh, I'm sure,
because it's like you're making money off a dead man. Well, he would have loved it.
I understand it. I mean, he was doing all right, but I don't think they were swimming in money.
Yeah.
So,
well, apparently Slim Jim, they got a lot of. They're a heavy hitter. Apparently they're a big money company. So I'm sure they didn't shy away from throwing him the millions.
Well, I'm sure it's a subsidy of Nabisco or one of these other.
Well, that's what's so funny is all these like real press releases talking about Vince McMahon and the horrific actions. Which, I mean, I went back and looked through the whole lawsuit. There is some horrific things in this lawsuit that I can't
accusations
accusations that I can't even talk about on the radio.
Wow.
Everything from like abuse to sex trafficking. There's a lot of people involved, but it's just funny, all these statements, and then at the bottom it's just Slim Jim.
So did they even talk about it during the pay-per-view about McMahon?
No,
was that no, we speak.
They breezed over it. In fact, in the press conference afterwards, when real reporters were asking real questions, Triple H, the head of creative now, was basically saying everything to the effect of, I didn't read the lawsuit. I don't know what's happening. And now he's catching a whole lot of backlash for that because, of course, you read the lawsuit.
Yeah, you're either playing dumb or you are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't buy either one.
There really wasn't a way that they were going to come out smelling like a rose in this one.
Yeah.
But they could have at least owned it,
So do you think, like, Vince is done now? Like,
he's beyond
We'll never hear
done.
from him probably again in the public forum.
I would if he pulls off another comeback, the only reason he was able to come back the first time was because he basically dug his feet in the sand and said, I will not, I have majority stock in WWE. I will not approve a sale unless I'm involved. And that's how he got back into the fold.
Sure.
So,
Man,
I mean,
there's a lot of money on the table there.
He's the only thing he has now is 11% stake in the company. And that's just because of the stock he owned. He actually late last year, sold a gigantic chunk of it. It's like $700 million worth of stock. In a huge dump off of.
So does his daughter own a majority of it now?
They all have stock in the company, but Stephanie, that was a whole other thing. She was put in as interim CEO along with Nick Khan, co-CEO along with Nick Khan after Vince stepped down the first time, and then when Vince came back, she resigned again. So there's definitely some animosity there between those two sides.
Sure. And of course, Triple H is the husband.
My guess is Stephanie didn't want to, because she knows a lot more than she's letting on, and she didn't want to work with in that shadow.
Yeah. But either way, it sounds like Vince is probably done with anything day to day.
And it's certainly not looking great for one Brock Lesnar either.
No.
Because he was also implicated, as a former WWE/UFC champion, unnamed in the lawsuit. But that really only could be one person, because there's only one WWE champion who was also a UFC champion.
It's not a big secret.
The story goes they were courting him to re-sign with WWE, and basically McMahon sent pictures of this girl to him and offered her up to him.
Wow.
He had agreed, said, yeah, he wanted to do a play date, but a snowstorm got in the way, and so they never could play.
This is
yeah, it's a real, like, there's stuff, again, that's what I can say on the radio.
Yeah.
There's stuff that involves horrific
It almost
acts.
sounds like he went a little Gotti. And what I mean by that is Gotti kept getting off on all these charges.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course the nickname Teflon Don was started. I think, and that went to his head at some point.
Yeah.
And Gotti got.
What happened
I think
was
this is now McMahon's time.
He figured out he had enough money and legal power that he could just have him sign NDAs and be fine.
Yeah.
But all chickens come home to roost, and boy howdy his are. And this is one case amounting to like $1 million. Remember, he paid out $19 million in funds over the past like 3-4 years in hush money.
And that's the part that makes me wonder, like, because the timing's awful weird. You know how it all goes down and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why part of you, like, when I hear about Vince McMahon and what he does, none of it surprises me.
Oh, no,
because he just has a reputation of being kind of an unsavory
Mm-hmm.
dude. But that always makes me wonder is, like, if he was actually a stand-up guy, I mean, was doing shady stuff, but didn't have a public persona of being a jerk, would this still be a thing? Or would he all got swept under the rug?
Yeah, but that's the thing is, I don't think that, I mean, because when you're, like a fan, you hear all these stories, like the fact that Vince hated sneezing. He couldn't stand it. If you sneezed around him, he would cuss you out. And if he sneezed himself, he'd be like, "Come on, get it together," don't, because he basically didn't want anything to defeat him,
right?
Including sneezing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let people. He was like, he has all these little quirks that are
He's
like, okay,
an
that's
ultimate
just
alpha dog.
That's just who Vince is. But then there's also all this other stuff that that persona, that Mr. McMahon persona, was not far off.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the whole Trish Stratus bark like a dog segment from Raw from 20 years ago,
yeah,
I think that was like shades of. It's almost like when you're too big to get caught, you almost tease at it,
right?
Like, you can't do anything, and I'm gonna even. This is how far I'm gonna even push it. I'm gonna show it off on TV.
He literally just got so bold that he was like, "I'm Teflon. You cannot touch me. I can do what I want, and I will buy my way out or figure my way out of it."
And there's
and he's done it a couple times here.
With this current case, there's a paper trail. There's text messages that were sent. One that was released was basically Vince sent her a text saying something to the effect of, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls you."
Wow.
Yeah. So
almost like a storyline from one of his.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Put it this way. There's enough corporate involved that wrestling won't go away and all that stuff. Vince McMahon will go away.
Vince is pretty much.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if he's going to spend his time in jail or sued to a point where he's got to get a day job. Or I got to imagine he's worth more money than God. And even after all the lawsuits, he could buy his own little private mansion and ride off into the sunset and, pull a Dan Snyder or whatever. I just wonder if that's what's next, or is he going to try to fight this and end up in prison or something crazy?
He's definitely going to fight it. He's already talked about how these are, the lawsuit's full of lies, and he's going to vigorously fight his case. But you also have to remember his amazing legal team of Jerry McDevitt recently retired, and so he doesn't have that dynamo lawyer that he had that got him out of
everything. He's still got enough money to put some good people in his corner.
And now the question is, what did Jerry McDevitt know that he obviously with lawyer client confidentiality, you don't have to let anybody know, but one would think he knew a lot more than.
Oh, I imagine he knows the whole story.
The regs.
Yeah, he knows all the deals. So. But who knows what's going to happen there? I don't know. So I guess our guest isn't here, right?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen any guest yet. So, all right. It is 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're scheduled to have the folks from Veterans Transport join us. We'll give them a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. Mild temperatures and fair weather with high pressure parked over the Four Corners. Sunshine today, and we're headed for the mid-60s. Overnight, a few clouds and mid-30s. We're in the mid-60s again for the afternoon high on Tuesday. Sunshine with a few clouds. We'll stay partly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the mid-60s. That's your latest forecast. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 40 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 65%. Winds currently out of the north at 8 miles per hour. Sunny today. Expect highs in the mid-60s, 65 officially. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy. Expect an overnight low right at freezing, 32 degrees. Winds will be out of the the southwest at around 5 miles per hour. For you Tuesday, another warm day, sunny skies, mid-60s once again, 66. What they're saying our high tomorrow will be with winds out of the north at around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, looking at an overnight low of 35 degrees. Winds will be out of the northwest at around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, another nice day, sunny skies, 66 once again for a high with winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, we're hitting the low 70s, sunny skies, 73 for a high. Thursday night, partly cloudy, warm with an overnight low of 43. And then Friday and Saturday, there's some slight rain chances in the forecast. A 20% chance at showers after 11 a.m. Friday, otherwise partly cloudy and 67 for a high. Chance of rain bumps up to 40% Friday night, mostly cloudy, otherwise with an overnight low of 39 degrees. And looking at the weekend, a 20% chance of showers for Saturday, partly cloudy and 56, 20% for Saturday night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 38, and then sunny and 56 on Sunday as you're scrambling to find sports to watch because there's no Super Bowl or playoffs. Pro Bowl next weekend, that's hit or miss. I used to love the skills competition back in the day when it was like in Hawaii every year and like usually around Thursday on that weekend before the Pro Bowl, they would do like the skills competition, or there was different versions. There was like one that was just the quarterbacks. And so the quarterbacks, the Pro Bowl quarterbacks would compete in various quarterback drills, like trying to throw and hit the moving target or land it in the basket or throw on the run or any of that. But then they had years too where they would incorporate some of the other positions, like they would have wide receivers do like where they have the ball pitch deals, like in a setup, and the guy was in the middle and he had to go around and try to catch the balls from the different football throwing machines, and they'd set the speeds real fast and all that because they're pros. And then they do like one with the running backs, so they had to run through a gauntlet deal, and then the kickers would do longest kick kind of thing, and I loved watching those. Those were fun because you get guys like Peyton Manning and Boomer Esiason just kind of shooting the bull, and it was like seeing a different side of these guys, and it was always fun to watch that. Dan Marino talking smack there with it was just fun to watch. Then Darryl Green every year would kick butt in the fastest man race each year. It was just that was my favorite. But then the actual game would happen, and I could care less. There's like one memory that I can think of in all of Pro Bowls that was something I cared about, and it was in the 90s when Sean Taylor, safety for Washington, who got killed a couple years later. He got shot, someone breaking into his home. Very very tragic situation. But anyway, he had made it to the Pro Bowl. And he was always known as a hard hitter, and if you're a football fan, you know who Sean Taylor is. And one year during the Pro Bowl, there's always an unwritten rule that the defense, they're not laying the lumber, man. They're just kind of tackling, but they're not doing these big hits and all that stuff that they've now all banned. You look funny at a guy and they throw a flag now, but back then they didn't. And there was a kickoff return or a punt return. I think it was a punt return. And Sean Taylor was on special teams, and he was on the receiving end as a blocker. And he come, or maybe he was on the other side tackling a guy, and somehow the kicker or whatever ended up with the ball, and I don't remember, and Sean Taylor hit him with the ball, and he hit him. It wasn't like a Pro Bowl hit. It was the feet left, full shoulder right into the sternum, and just knocked the living snot out of this dude. And everyone was like, whoa, but then it was kind of like, wait a minute, this is the unwritten rule. You're not supposed to hit the kicker or you're hit like that, but they did, and that was one of my favorites there. So big fan of that. So our guest is here, so let's do this. Let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll talk Veterans Transport on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Garlic has been around for thousands of years and is one of the world's favorite seasonings. Without garlic, most of our food would be dull and boring, kind of like watching C-SPAN. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. If you like to cook and like to grow things, you ought to try growing your own garlic. Come by Roswell Seed Company and we'll show you how. And next August, you'll have fresh, homegrown garlic to make your food taste great and keep the vampires away.
Hi everyone, this is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture. When was the last time you looked forward to sleep? Let's be honest here, you know a restful night's sleep has more health benefits than you consciously think about during the day. Here at Glenn's, we carry Serta mattresses, and they've been in the business for more than 90 years. Choosing one can be hard, but I want you to know we have your back. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda in Roswell, where delivery is free since 1953.
Edge Safety and Services, LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for roustabout crew and a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screening. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 2801 North Freeman in Artesia. Edge Safety and Services is an equal opportunity employer.
The University of New Mexico offers affordable, top-tier education year after year. The New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship and free application for student aid may provide funding to pay for school. Apply to UNM and learn more about the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship at admissions.unm.edu.
Attention Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia, and surrounding areas. Roswell Tire and Appliance has what you're looking for, with a great selection of refrigerators, freezers, washers and dryers, and ranges, and they can prepare your appliance as well, with many models in stock and on sale. You can own it today. RTA services after the sale with repair, warranty, and delivery to Roswell and surrounding areas. Save big on a selection of scratch and dent appliances too, plus a great selection of tires and a team of people to help you when you need it most. Roswell Tire and Appliance, 101 South Main in downtown Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 26 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning with the Southeast New Mexico Veterans Transportation Network, President Magel Duran back with us. Morning, Magel. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
If it got any better, hell, I'd have to sit on my hands to keep them clapping.
Well, that's good. I hope everyone's doing well right now. But for folks that don't know, the Southeast New Mexico Veterans Transport is a great organization that really does a unique mission that is not available had you got, like, if you guys weren't doing your thing, there'd be a lot of people without this resource to take care of their needs. And what the Veterans Transport does, what they do is it's a network of volunteers, and they drive veterans to their medical appointments that are out of town. So if they live here and they got a VA appointment in Albuquerque or Odessa or Artesia, something like that, then one of our volunteer drivers will load them up in the vans and take them to wherever they got to do, make sure they get to their doctor's appointments and get everything taken care of, and then get them back home safe. And they've been doing it for years, and I'm telling you, there are some veterans in our community that would not be getting the care that they need had it not be for the Veterans Transport Network. So it is a great network, or a great organization.
Thank you much for that.
Give a little history for folks, because you're one of the founders here and kind of one of the guys that are really stemmed why this is in existence.
Well, I'm not really one of the founders. One of the founders started back in, I think, 2008, where one vet needed a ride to Albuquerque. His car was broken. He had a friend that had a van, so he asked his friend, he said, "Can you drive me?" The guy said, "Sure." So that began. The guy spread the word that this guy with a van would drive, and pretty soon
had a lot of appointments.
they started it up. Mainly they were World War II vets, Korean vets at that time, and Vietnam vets. The original name was Southeast New Mexico Vietnam Veterans
So
Transportation.
It kind of started with a twist on the Vietnam vets, and it's kind of grown from there.
People wouldn't see. I mean, they would see the Vietnam veterans, so they thought that we only transported veterans from Vietnam.
Vietnam era.
Well, when we took over in 2013 and reincorporated as Southeast New Mexico Veterans Transportation. And I have 22 drivers at this time. 6 are out sick.
I'm about saying you could use 22 more.
Oh, my. We run from Roswell, Artesia, Carlsbad, and we go to places like Albuquerque, El Paso, Lubbock, Midland, Odessa, Big Springs, out to Clovis, and all the way out to Alamogordo and everything in between. Even in Roswell, we transport vets to their medical appointments here in Roswell.
Good deal. Well, and that's just it. We live in a remote part of the country.
We're rural.
Yeah, we're rural, and it's 3 hours to do anything in this community. And and unfortunately, when you get that age where you need to be seeing the doctors a lot and stuff, you spend a lot of time having to travel to Albuquerque, Lubbock, Odessa, and these other places to get the proper care you need. So.
Yes. And we estimate about 60 to 70% of our veterans that we transport would not be able to make it to their appointments.
Yeah, they've probably been with us, quite frankly. And you and I know veterans.
Yeah.
And they can be a stubborn bunch and not always the most receptive of help. So they'll sit and suffer and not say nothing.
That's true.
So it is so good that you guys not only do this, but you will go chase them down and stuff. And when the veteran gets a little stubborn, it's like, hey, I get it, but come on, let us help you. Let's get you taken care of.
We do that. We take you from your house to your medical appointment and back to your house.
Yep.
And we do not charge a penny. If you wish to make a donation, that's fine, but we don't ask.
Well, you have some very generous people that have helped you in the past.
Yes.
The Crumlin Group has been an asset as far as vehicles and some of the maintenance and upkeep. Gas money has always been an area where you guys could definitely use donations. So monetary donations are greatly appreciated because y'all see the price of gas and then what it costs, and these vans run 5 days a week, probably at least. Maybe 6 or 7, depending on when some of their medical appointments and things are.
And the truth is that all veterans pay with their lives. All veterans. Some pay it once, and we honor those, and while others pay in a lifetime, and we honor those. That was a quote from a guy named Jim Stone. He wrote that. I have this in my possession, and I really liked it because it's true.
Yeah.
And a veteran is somebody who will raise his hand and go any place, do anything that the government tells them to.
Yep.
And you will return home, and you get the thanks later when you really need it.
And this is, just from my own personal experiences, and I'm sure you've probably experienced some of this yourself, is for a veteran too, it's not always about, like you said, we do what the government tells you to do, but we do it always because of the person next to us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's our brother and sister standing next to us that is signed up for the same thing, and we've gone through hell together, and guess what? We're going to continue to go through hell together because we know each other's metal and what we're made up of and what we do. And that's part of the military is you do some of the suckiest things known to humankind sometimes, but you do it and you get through it together because that comradeship or just, when you're all in the same boat doing the same thing together, there's a strength and a ability to go above and beyond that's sometimes not there.
Yes.
When you're willing to do it for your fellow soldier,
Right.
then you're you tend to get a little bit more brave with the adrenaline. You get a little bit more, all right, let's do this. You know what I mean? And it's hard to understand that unless you've been put in that position.
It's been an uphill struggle for us right now, looking for or trying to find volunteer drivers.
Need them desperately.
My youngest driver is 61 and my oldest is 89.
So you could use some young.
We could use anybody.
And we get it. Generally speaking, these are during the day, and a lot of people work and things like that. So that's why retirees are generally more able to volunteer because they've got the time to do that. So
it's absolutely the best job you'll never get paid for.
Well, and here's the thing too is how many of those folks, your volunteer drivers, are like the social network for some of these veterans? Like some of these individuals are probably a little bit shut in or a little bit isolated from society. And their connection is probably that volunteer driver that hangs with them for 3 hours and chit-chats and checks in on them and finds out how their life's going. And if there's something outside of our normal little transport thing that this veteran can use, these drivers are usually talking to them and trying to make arrangements for that stuff.
Oh, we do that. We really do. We have drivers who are very caring. Well, all of my drivers are caring.
Yeah.
Because they're here for the purpose of allowing the veteran to get the medical attention they need.
Absolutely.
Without that medical attention, like I say, many would not be here today.
Absolutely. They just, because of the resources, aren't available to do it.
Yes.
And here's the thing, too, to kind of lure some of our younger folks that maybe have a time and ability to do some driving here. You've got a valuable treasure trove of experience sitting in that van with you.
Yes.
These are all individuals that have seen a thing or two, that have seen the world, know a little thing about it. And some of their input, some of their mentorship will rub off on you as you make your way to the doctor's appointments and things. Trust me, our seniors they've been there, done that. All the T-shirts, they've got them. They've been there. Tap into that potential for your own personal.
That is true.
Use that. And let's face it, seniors, especially when you get in that point where you're relying on other people to take care of you to do things. Sometimes when you're able to give back, it does so much more to the spirit. So by letting them talk to you and letting some of their wisdom rub off on you, not only is it making you a better person, but it's helping with their own mental and psyche there a little bit.
Some of those veterans, we're the only contact that they have outside.
Absolutely.
They're shut-ins, as you say. Some of them don't want to meet anybody. They just want to do what they have to do. They've been to places and done things that you couldn't imagine.
But you get to chink away at that armor a little bit and get them down to crack a joke every now and then.
Oh,
and
yes.
Next thing you know, you're starting to have a little relationship. But sometimes you just got to peel away a layer or two of that onion first to get there.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
There's some crusty old souls out there.
Well, and let's face it, as well as I, that side of them is what made them good as veterans. You know what I mean? Because let's face it, you do hard things in the military, and you've got to train your brain and put yourself in a certain mindset to be able to handle those. And that comes good with doing the job, but sometimes comes bad with navigating life outside of military and things that people just don't see and do on a daily basis that a veteran would do.
That's so true. Everybody in this nation has a relative or they themselves that have or is serving in the military.
Mm-hmm.
In our era, in the 60s and 70s, they had the draft. And that draft took people from all over and put us all together. I volunteered. I was an RA. In the service when I joined, we had this sergeant giving us training in Fort Benning, Georgia, jump school. And he would yell out, okay, all of you RAs, which is enlisted of your own volition.
Gotcha.
That's an RA.
You signed on the dotted line voluntarily.
A U.S. is involuntary. So he would yell out, okay, all you RAs, which means real Americans.
Gotcha.
1 foot, one step forward. And all you USs, which means unwanted sons, one step to the rear, and we knew where it was going.
You gotta love the military. They got an acronym for everything, by the
way. We are proud to have served this.
But you
community.
know what? You know what else too? I would say to that, like just kind of finishing up that story. Towards the end of basic training, though, some of those U.S. we're getting them called RAs. You know what I mean? When they prove to the instructors that maybe they can do this military thing, that's when you start seeing a little bit change in the instructors as they start treating you. I wouldn't say like humans, because that's a bit much, but they do treat you a little bit. They give you a little bit more respect, a little bit more leeway once they see that. All right, this guy's going to make it. This is a soldier we're dealing with. Let's do it. So
it's amazing that we keep the stats that we do, and the stat for 2023, we transported 831 veterans.
That's an average of about 3 a day almost. If you do the 365, and so 2 to 3 a day almost. And it's probably more than that because that's I'm thinking 7 days a week instead of 5.
And we had a total of 947. Applications taken to take them, but 147 declined when we called. They called in and say, "I don't need to go anymore" or something.
Something happened where they changed it up.
That's 947 souls. We traveled 127,121 miles. Wow! Now figure that's about 4 times around the world.
I'm about to say that's a lot of tires.
We do roll. We roll Monday through Wednesday to Albuquerque. Monday through Thursday, we go to Artesia. And if there is special accommodations to be made by specialists, we will take them to any hospital on any day.
Nice.
It's becoming really hard for us to continue
with just the 22 volunteers right now.
And 6 are down.
And 6 are down, so you're down
15.
A third almost here. Yeah, so.
We're taking 15 now.
And like you said, it's every day they're going. So at any given time, you probably have 3 or 4 drivers that are going in different directions or out on the road taking care of veterans at any given moment. So if you can drive a day a week or 2 days a week or 3 days a week or whatever you're available to, we would love to have you do that. Like I said, it's routes to, could be to Midland, Odessa, Albuquerque, could be just a hop down to Artesia. But don't forget, you're also picking up folks from these areas too.
Yes, we are.
So if you have folks that, I know some of you that don't live in Roswell, maybe live in Hagerman or Dexter or Lake Arthur, we would love to have you volunteer too, because sometimes it's easier when we got some veterans in that neck of the woods. You can grab them while you're down there and bring them up with you. While we, especially if they got to go up to Albuquerque or something.
We have 2 vans in Artesia too, and we're getting 2 vans in Carlsbad. In fact, we're getting 3 new vans from the legislature this year.
Excellent.
The legislature has been so good to us.
Good. You should be.
And Chaves County they hold the pink slip for us, and they do everything. I mean, we are so indebted to everybody, to all these different organizations, and without them we wouldn't be what we're doing.
And kind of as a testament to what the Veterans Transport does, like you said, the county's kind of your stewards for your financing and these things. They don't do that kind of stuff for people or organizations that are not on the up and up or have a track record of messing up.
Right.
They don't do that. They do. But when they have an organization that's constantly serving the people of Chaves County and doing it in much the capacity, the county will go and do these kinds of things for them. So I know you guys are very thankful the county does this, but to me, the fact that they do this for you is as much a testament of the quality of what you guys do as an advertisement for that, saying, hey, look, the county believes in what they're doing. That's why they've dove in full feet to help support and keep this organization rolling.
I dare say we're the only organization, and we don't accept any federal funding whatsoever. We're running on donations, contributions, and foundation grants only. We won't accept money from the government because, as you know,
Comes with strings.
The Arabs have a saying that really fits. The Arabs always say that if you let a camel's nose into the tent, eventually the whole camel will be there.
Yeah.
So if we were to accept money from the government, they could come in and try to tell us how to run.
All of a sudden, you're not in control of your volunteer organization anymore.
So we have declined money and vans, and will continue.
And that's where the county has kind of said, "Look, we'll let you run it how you run it, as long as everything's up and up." And they give you that freedom to do what you got to do, especially when there's a unique situation or a status of a veteran that we have to get going, and it's not in the normal operations of what the organization does. That gives you that freedom to do those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, I also have the January stats. So we transported 69 vets in January up to today.
We still got a day or two left.
Yeah, we will take more. And we've traveled 10,596 miles.
Just in the month of January. Wow.
And we have 266 volunteer hours, which our vets are driving, our drivers are driving, and we record all of the time that happens. In fact, last year we donated 3,190 hours of service to this community.
And some of that helps with the grants and side of things, too. When you apply for some of these grants, they use these statistics as their measuring stick to see how much you're worthy of receiving.
And we're the best run organization as we run in the nation, bar none. We ask nothing from the government. We just do what we do, and we will continue, God willing, as long as we have drivers.
That's the big key in the crux in this plan here.
If you're a driver, if you're a person and you have 1 or 2 days that you can spend, and you want to do something for your country and for the veterans themselves,
some great individuals.
You'll meet some nice guys.
It will change your life.
Sometimes you will meet not so nice guys. But they've been through hell.
They're probably dealing with some PTSD or some other mental health issues and things. And, but here's the thing. It's going to make you, it's going to put life in perspective. I can't tell this enough to young people. If you have the time and the ability to do this, take advantage of it. Yeah, you're even though you're going out to help others, you're going to take so much from this.
Yes.
It'll make you a better human being. And dare I say, if you're looking for a little direction in your life, this might put you on the path to where your dream is or where you want to go with your life. This I swear to God, I'm not trying to blow smoke here. It's when you talk to some of these veterans, and these are folks, like you said, some are a little more chatty than others, but these are people with a wealth of information, a wealth of life experience, and if you are willing to talk to them, most of them would love to share that kind of wisdom.
They do. And I say our drivers are male and female. You don't have to be a veteran. You can just be a person who's
if you're a caring person that can, it's a licensed driver that can drive people to and from, then that's, and you don't have a 70,000 points on your license or, any of that stuff.
A few years back, I was washing my truck, one of my vans, and this guy walked up and he says, "Hey, I'd like to drive for you guys." I said, "Wonderful. Now, question, have you any speeding tickets in the last 5 or 10 years? He says, "No, I don't speed." I said, "Do you have any DWIs?" He looked at me, he says, "Well, I've had 2, but I wasn't too drunk."
Well, that's all right then.
We can't use it.
If you were too drunk, that'd be a problem. But since you weren't too drunk. But yeah,
it's something that,
But then again, I imagine if it was 20 years ago as opposed to a year ago, that's a little different too.
Yes,
we were all young and dumb once and did dumb things.
Oh boy! So I'm pleading to this listening audience that if you do have some time, call our office.
Yeah.
At 575-622-0729. That is, you will be in touch with Alice or Donna.
All right.
Which are the two most wonderful ladies you can ever imagine that
They're the organized ones that
They can run without me, but we can't run without them.
Gotcha. You can take a day off. They can't.
And there are only paid employees.
Good. Well,
everybody else is voluntary.
I'm glad that they're able to do this 24/7 because the volume of work that you guys have.
Yes.
That's the problem. It's not for lack of veterans that need appointments. Like you said, you've got almost 1,000 that you serviced here last year. The point is having enough volunteers to get these veterans to their appointment. You guys kind of have to run like a little bit of a train schedule here just because these appointments on certain days and there's patterns there. So you kind of have to have these drivers on call at any given time. So that's the thing. And like you said, you have a lot of seniors themselves that are veterans, and they've got their own doctor's appointments and medical health issues they've got to take care of. So their time is limited too sometimes. So if you got a day a week or 2 days a week or whatever it is, 3 times a month, whatever it is, that would be an amazing gift.
You can pick where you would like to drive to. I mean, some drivers will drive anywhere at any time.
Sure.
Others only want to go to Albuquerque. Others only want to drive to Artesia. And we have other drivers that will just drive within the city limits.
Okay.
But we will take anybody that has a good driving record. The requirement is you bring in your driving record to us. We submit it to our insurance corporation, which we paid $35,000.
I was going to say, you probably pay a lot of money in insurance because the vehicle's on the road all the time.
There is never a year where we get a break.
Yeah, I would imagine. And of course, every once in a while, there's probably a fender bender or something that happens.
We have had one reportable accident.
Knock on wood.
Just one, and it was just a very slight accident.
Good.
But all of my drivers are very courteous, except one or two.
Well, they all are caring people because they wouldn't be behind that wheel if they weren't caring people, and that's just it. So please reach out. Please call Megal or call the Veterans Transport 575-622-0729. Again, that's 575-622-0729. That's the main office number. You guys also have Facebook, if I remember right.
Yes, we do. It's on there.
If you look at it, if you do a search for Southeast New Mexico Veterans Transport Network, it should pop right up. You can always shoot Megal an email to MegalDurand at msn.com if you have some questions or want some more information. And he'll, if he doesn't answer direct, he'll get it to one of his capable assistants to get that information to you.
They're really the bosses. I'm not.
They just kind of point. Well, you know what? There's always been kind of a joke, my wife and all that. And it's like, yeah, the man is the head of the family, but the wife is the neck. And she turns the head on which direction the head goes.
That is true.
That is very true. So.
But life is good here in Roswell. We're blessed. Yes, we are rural. In fact, we're so rural that when we were scheduled to see about getting a CBOC, it's a little hospital for our own here in Roswell, they gave it to another rural place, and it's called Rio Rancho.
Oh.
They built one over there, which is marvelous for them.
One of the most rural places in the state.
And we got squat.
Yeah, it's rural.
So thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Anytime. They only have 10 Starbucks. That makes it rural.
That's true.
But thank you, Megal, and thank you and all of your volunteers and all of your two assistants there too that keep this amazing organization going. And folks, if you're looking to make a difference, this is a great way to do it. And I tell you, you're going to take out way more from this than you give back. It's just going to happen.
You're making points with the big guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's never a bad thing to serve others and to help others.
It's never.
And I always find that when I find issues or problems in my own life, sometimes taking time to help and serve others kind of allows me to work my own issues out sometimes too. So
God has been good to us.
Absolutely.
We are in a Christian nation, but we take anybody, and we will continue always. So if you need a ride, Call us.
Yes, reach out. If you need appointments, let's get you on the schedule.
If you need a ride for an appointment that you don't know, we will pick you up at your door, take you, and bring you home.
Yeah, door-to-door service.
That's our promise.
Can't beat that. It's door-to-door service. And we want you to go to your medical appointments. We want you to stay healthy.
We need you to.
We need you to be around for a little longer. So please, if you're having trouble getting to your appointments, reach out. Call again. Call Megal direct or call the office here direct at 575-622-0729. If you do not get a live person, leave a voicemail. They will get back to you as soon as humanly possible.
That's true.
And take care of your needs.
That's true. Yes.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Megal, and we'll see you next time here. And anything we can do to get the word out or help out, let me know.
Well, you guys are doing great doing this, and I thank you. And I thank the people of Roswell, Artesia, Carlsbad that are involved with me and with us, and we are here to serve.
And if anybody out there, businesses or entities out there listening, and you're looking for a great grassroots, down-home organization that you can be a part of to help, I invite you to check out Southeast New Mexico Veterans Transport Network.
Yes,
it is a jewel of organizations. So
we are just a collection of men and women doing what we think is right.
Absolutely.
For the good and not for any monetary gain.
Just for the
But when you go see the big boy upstairs and he looks in plus and minus, this will do something.
Absolutely.
None of my drivers are paid.
Yeah, that's right. It's all like you said. The only people who are volunteer are two, basically people that run the day-to-day operations of the organization.
Yes,
organizing the schedules, the lists, navigating who needs to go where to what to when, and all that. That which is probably a full-time job to do all that.
It is true.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Megal, and God bless you guys. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
And thank you, and God bless everybody out there.
Awesome. Have an awesome day. Hopefully it gets better for you. 9:55. Let's pause for news. And a quick break before they kick me off the radio. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Okay. Now, your Pecos Valley News update. I'm Jared Sorello. A Clovis woman is now charged with murder after shooting an alleged intruder at her home. The Eastern New Mexico Times is reporting Alexandra Romero was initially released after being charged with involuntary manslaughter, but prosecutors later said they have found inconsistencies with Romero's story and statements. Romero is accused of shooting Javier Jimenez on August 4th after she reported finding him inside her home. Jimenez is Romero's ex-boyfriend. She had called 911 to report a burglary in progress. Police found Jimenez dead inside her home. A judge threw out the charge, saying the woman was denied due process because she was not allowed to testify before the initial grand jury. Now she's being held in jail on a murder charge with no bond. Eddy County Manager Roberta Gonzalez recently gave county commissioners an update on the state legislative activities. Gonzalez told commissioners the governor's State of the State speech focused on economic development and infrastructure largely, noting that the governor wants to dedicate about 2% of her budget, about $170 million, to the State Severance PAC Permanent Fund, investing in companies that develop advanced energy technologies. And Sheriff Mark Cage also told commissioners that he would continue to vehemently oppose any attempts to pass laws that violate the Second Amendment. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Abbott is duty-bound. He gave an oath of office. Unlike Joe, he actually cares about his oath of office to enforce his own state laws by armed force if necessary, to halt people from entering his state illegally, and arrest those that violate Texas law. His citizens are in imminent danger every single day, and that's where we now find ourselves. And now the big question is, well, Joe painted himself in a corner with his big, line in the sand. They have a deadline until now to let federalized troops go in and cut down that razor wire. Why do they want to cut the razor wire anyway? Because all it's doing is enabling people to violate the laws of this country, and the sovereignty of this country, the borders of this country.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
The world is becoming more and more unstable by the day, and many Americans are not waiting around to find out how bad it could get. They're making the decision to diversify their wealth with precious metals like gold and silver. And they're turning to the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco. Goldco is a 7-time Inc. 5000 winner with over 5,000 five-star reviews, and they've helped thousands of Americans place over $2 billion in gold and silver. They're Sean Hannity's top choice, and right now they're offering up to $10,000 in bonus silver. But it's first come, first served, and only while supplies last. So don't wait. Call Goldco at 855-815-GOLD to learn how you could get started today. Tell them Sean Hannity sent you and see if you qualify for up to $10,000 in bonus silver. Don't let this chaotic world get in the way of your goals. Follow Sean Hannity's lead and call Goldco today at 855-815-GOLD. That's 855-815-GOLD. 855-815-GOLD.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. Mild temperatures and fair weather with high pressure parked over the four corners. Sunshine today, and we're headed for the mid-60s. Overnight, a few clouds and mid-30s. We're in the mid-60s again for the afternoon high on Tuesday. Sunshine with a few clouds. We'll stay partly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the mid-60s. That's your latest forecast. This is staff meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Get your tickets now for Red Zone Presents A Night with Jason Witten, coming to Artesia Saturday, April 13th. Jason Witten is an 11-time Pro Bowl selection and 2-time NFL All-Pro with the Dallas Cowboys and is currently head coach at Liberty Christian High School in Argyle, Texas. Jason is one of sports' top leaders on and off the field. Tickets are free, but you must have a ticket to enter. To get your free tickets, contact the Artesia Chamber of Commerce. This invitation courtesy of H.F. Sinclair. Excited about Jason Witten coming to Artesia.
Your home for Coast to Coast AM in Roswell, 106.5, Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The Biden administration faces a widening Mideast conflict after a drone attack left 3 American troops dead near the Syrian